Oh, hello, super gamers. I hope you are all loving life. I'm live, however, I'm gonna get straight into the title of this video, which is how to trip on psilocybin magic mushrooms, or how to take psychedelics, just general psychedelic advice. So, if anybody joins the chat, I would love to do some form of Q&A or just have a conversation with you, but I've written some bullet points here which we're going to go over in terms of just general how to approach and do psychedelics. The reason I feel I am qualified to speak on this, I've had approximately 65, maybe 70 magic mushroom trips since I was 15. I'm 19 now. And I've been doing them like multiple times a week for ages. And yes, Key, it's good you're still here. I got the chat up as well on the screen, so if anybody would like to speak, let's fucking get into it. So what I've got there in the chat above us, Key, and anyone else who may join, I'm going to be speaking on how to do psychedelics, and I believe I do have quite a bit to say. I haven't premeditated this super loads, but if you want to stick around, then there's no obligation to, but I have things to speak on. So, the bullet points that I was contemplating just before I decided to go live today is, well, the main thing is set and setting. Set and setting is, well, I don't want to bore you, but so set and setting is the bigger whole of your mental state and the physical state and who you're with and all sorts. Is basically the all-encompassing your present experience, so you want to try and prepare and organize that to the best of your ability, but ultimately there's a lot of trial and error, which is why I feel I have good knowledge. So what works for me may not work for you, but I feel a lot of these are very solid pointers. So quickly just go over the bullet points. There's set and setting, cannot prepare enough, stock up on resources, have 2 entire days free, preferably, if not even more, because you don't want to be going to work the next day, and you definitely do not want to squeeze it in between shifts or anything. You don't want to be thinking, I've got to go here later, or setting is, what you'll realise is having to deal with the shifting external world is really not where you want to be. You don't want to have to be dealing with these things while tripping, so it is best to control your environment to the best of your ability, really. There is many fun things to do on psychedelics, and one thing that I've built, so if you're familiar with how psilocybin and LSD actually act on the brain, I'll pull up the brain scans quick. So here we go. This is like my favorite image of all time. Fuck's sake, come on. Bruh, this is fucking stupid. Alright, can I do it like that? Alright, here you go. So, this is a good way to explain the psychedelic experience, and why it's like so hyperdimensional and literally impossible is a lot of because this is the brain scan when you're on magic mushrooms. It's very hyper-connected. And this is the placebo or sobriety. And what I was gonna say, the reason I bring this up is because something that I've like kind of built as a notion in my mind is that doing various activities such as maybe driving, I don't advocate that you drive, I don't even advocate you take psychedelics, first of all, I have to do these disclaimers, but I mean, doing various activities will, if you're in the pursuit of neurogenesis, if you trip and you go swimming, if you trip and go driving, if you trip and go on a bicycle ride, if you trip and go through a maze in the dark and all sorts of weird, I feel like it's gonna grow and sync up these parts of your brain and hyperconnect. The more you hyperconnect and the more you trip, the more your actual brain chemistry will grow with those new pathways. And I know I'm going a bit off topic, I'll get back into it, sorry, but It's check your Insta quickly. Okay, I'm checking my Insta key. Yeah, you can something that I was thinking about is that basically certain people, basically if you take enough psychedelics you become incomprehensible to your tribe, and once you pass this threshold I feel like it may actually be a very physical phenomena of you pass like a literal threshold where your brain chemistry transforms and you are basically a different entity, a different being at that point. I had a trip report that I never released a while ago, and I realised that I was not the same entity as before I ingested this dose because my brain chemistry and physiology has changed. Calling them as drug is really a problem. They're more what is the word, man? Oh my god. Key, what you just sent me is legendary. I can't disclose. But they're more neurotransmitters, that's the word I was looking for. They're neurotransmitters, they're not so much drugs like that. Key says, yo, heard Paul Stammett's story on Joe Rogan's about his stuttering habit. Goes hand in hand with what you're saying. Yeah, so those who are unfamiliar, Paul Stammett's had a stuttering problem all his life, and when he became highly conscious on psilocybin, he basically invoked and made the decision that he would no longer stutter. And it's a very profound story. If you watch the documentary Fantastic Fungi, or Fungi, or whatever, I highly recommend you check it out. It is incredible. It talks a lot about psychedelics, but the whole kingdom of mushrooms in general is much, much deeper than most people realise. It's its own kingdom. Like, you have the plants and the animals, and then there's the mushrooms. He believes it built new neural pathways in the brain which acted kind of like a reset. Yeah, so if you're familiar with what is going on in my brain freezing? Like, I can't. What's his name, man? What's that bald guy? I do know his name. A scientist. He's also on Joe Rogan. What the hell, man? Come on, the bald old man who... Fungi is legit one of the most fascinating networks to exist on Earth. How it all works is crazy. Yeah, it's very very deep. Fungi. It's for example, here's one example. So they discovered a fungal intelligence that is beyond human intelligence in many ways, and the particular example is they were testing transportation systems underground, I believe, and in order to figure out the fastest route, they implanted some form of... Yeah, Michael Pollan, that's who I'm on about. I'll get back to him in a second, but thank you, Key, for bringing him up. That's the bald guy I was on about. So, the underground transportation systems were advanced through the quickest routes, and the quickest routes or routes were discovered by this mycelium fungi or something like that. In terms of, and this was Paul Stamets I heard speaking of this, and it was the discovery of fungal intelligence, and it was the fungus was able to figure out beyond human capabilities the fastest mode of transport, as the lines of fungi and mycelium under the earth, they cut out the ones that were least efficient. So it created a divine, sacred kind of shortest route, and there was no... You literally just plant the fungi, and it makes the connection for you. So Michael Pollan, yeah, so this is going in with what you were speaking about, Key, of the neural advancements, neurogenesis, and it reset Paul Stamets' stuttering habit. Michael Pollan speaks of psychedelics as a snow globe, and they inject chaos, and this is why they can be dangerous for Western society, or any society, is your mind is a snow globe, your neural pathways are set in stone for the most part, and it takes a powerful medicine like a psychedelic to shake the snow globe, so to speak, and it all goes up there and it's all fucking all over the place. And this is a very subscribed to notion. I think this is a very good way to explain how it goes. And even I went to a seed talk in Swindon of psychedelics called The Science of Psychedelics, and they spoke on the same concept. And then basically the psychedelics shake the snow globe, that is the mind, but then it resets in a different fashion, and this is how you can break out of negative thinking habits. As they thoughts become like grooves in the mind. So if you were to repetitively think the same things, and actually most of your thoughts are repetitive every day, you have most of the same thoughts you did the day before. It evolves over time, but most days are the same as every other day until you take a step back and look at the whole thing. So say if you're in depression, and this is the renaissance of psychedelics for medicine for depression and spiritual awakening, is if you're stuck in a negative rut and you've ingrained these grooves in your mind. What I mean is, like, if you imagine your mind as like a landscape of snow or a forest, a big tropical landscape of plants. Of course, if you traverse these paths consistently, they're going to become more deeply ingrained, and that's how your mind is. And it creates like a magnetic traction to your most consistent thoughts over your past. So if you're consistently depressed, they are literally physically, like, how do you think that actually works? If you think repetitive negative thoughts, they probably exist like in some solid fashion, like as in that's like the path of least resistance, because it's comforting because you've always been there. So psychedelics can shake this landscape and the snow globe and reset in a different fashion. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I will be going over the bullet points, but if anybody wants to speak, I'd rather speak to you guys most of all. And if anyone has any questions or anything, I'd love to have a talk with you, mans. So high consciousness before dose. This is an important one. So if you're familiar with what I deem as the best video on my channel in terms of editing, took a long time and it's my favourite video, and is the channel trailer, is my 7-gram terror trip, worst trip of all time. So the reason I bring this up is there is a huge diversity of bad trips and good trips, but what is become apparent to me is these absolute reality shattering terror horror trips are avoidable for the most part, because they lack foresight and consciousness before going into the experience. So when you can still have horrific, and I still do have horrific bad trips, but it's my consciousness and awareness of what's going down that now makes me psilocybin invincible. I say very often, I really almost do not believe there's a dose of magic mushrooms, right? I've only taken 7 grams at most at this point, but I do not almost believe that there's no dose large enough of magic mushrooms that will obliterate me. And what I mean is, It doesn't matter how terrifying what's going down is. I'm conscious and I see it from the outside. So this terror trip of mine, how it went down is I'd only had 2 mushroom trips in my past, which were 3.5 grams. They were both absolutely amazing, so I thought, alright, let's up the dose now, 7 grams. Which is not wise to do such a jump. And I got absolutely obliterated because I was highly unconscious and was not aware of where this trip was going to be taking me. So if you do your research and are not so ignorant in the way that you jump into an experience, and I did actually have this experience twice. There's another video where I had a super bad trip with my best friend, like simultaneously, basically. So, and I'm very grateful that these experiences happened because it completely shattered everything, and I wouldn't have got there without it. But yeah, in short, meditation, a non-shifting external environment, set and setting, is the way forward, and you want to sit there in presence and basically watch the experience. And it's through this method is it doesn't really slip under. When it slips under is when you lose grip and have a full blast terror trip of insanity, is because you didn't really know what you were doing and you started following your thoughts and all weird shit, and the set and setting was shifting, you didn't know what was going to be happening, and the environment wasn't super controlled. And then at some point you kind of slip under into some thick delusion, and if you can avoid this slipping under, then you don't ever go there, and you avoid the slipping under by sitting in presence and watching and going, right, I feel this, right, this is rather intense, I'm thinking this. But it's a skill that I've cultivated to observe the experience from like a higher state of consciousness, instead of being so heavily take it and I'm like, oh, I feel weird, oh, and then thinking thoughts and going, oh, that's horrible, man, this is horrible thoughts. Like, I can think them and I just sit there and I go, okay, and this too, and then it just keeps happening. Sorry, I'll look at your comments now, Key. Sorry. So Key says, a lot of people in the community talk about how important a trip sitter is, yet I have only ever tripped alone and have never had a bad trip. Not ruling one out, but as of now I haven't experienced one. What are your thoughts of needing a trip sitter? I'll get to your other ones in a second. So, it's a good point. Trip sitter. Me personally, I don't ever need a trip. I don't need any sober human to sit there and tell me everything's okay. Often, if you get into a deep enough state, it will transcend anything that a trip sitter can tell you. So, but it is very good to have a trip sitter. The one trip sitter I did have once upon a time, I would tell him, I would before I slipped under into unrecognizable insanity, I was telling him my existential fears, and they were quite pessimistic, because it was quite a difficult dark night of the soul confronting negativity experience. And my friend just kind of, the trip sitter, who I didn't employ him as a trip sitter, but he was there, and he didn't really have the intuition, I guess, to try and like be positive, but he just reinforced everything I said. I was like, oh, reality's kind of fucked up, and he's like, yeah, I know, right? And anything of that nature, you kind of discover these negative truths, and then he just kind of reinforced them, and then that threw me into the slipping. I've only ever slipped under twice, and when I say slip under, it's literally you're rolling around. I was singing and lyrics were just like pouring out of my mouth from my subconscious mind, which is evidence that the subconscious poured forth. I didn't have to think about them. I was just spewing lyrics for like hours, rolling around. I was like picking up my phone on a whim, calling my mates like, I'm gonna kill myself, shit like that. That's what happens if you're really not fucking careful. So a trip sitter, personally, I think it's a very deep topic. A trip sitter, it's wise, if you're only just getting into it, to have a very good friend. You don't want to have fake friends. You want to have, basically, friends don't really exist to me, in a sense. What I mean by that is you're either family or you're not. You don't want to take it, you know how like a lot of young girls are like kind of friends, but really they just chat shit about each other behind their back, and they're only friends, and that, but like, You know, they're only friends kind of socially in a group, and they all kind of have this social insecurity, and they try to not act cringe. Basically, you can't take a heavy psychedelic with someone you don't super know, to the point where it transcends any notion of cringe or what, because people, the deepest shit comes up, so you don't want to trip with anybody who you don't super know. But anyway, it's probably wise to have a very good, conscious friend who's familiar with the landscape of psychedelics in the other room if necessary. But overall, I think a trip sitter can be wise, because you can hit your head on some set of drawers and then you're fucked. Because often you really do not, you get into places that are so unfamiliar that you probably can't help yourself in a lot of ways. And especially for your first few trips. Right, I'll get back to the trip sitter topic in a second, but I'm going to read Key's comments. Bro, all of these bots, man, get the fuck out of the comments. Good thing to talk about. Alright, Key said, I wouldn't call it a bad trip, but I did have a scary period within one happen. I mentioned it in one of my older videos about some feminine sound screaming outside my garden. That's scary. That's what I mean about controlling the set and setting, yeah. Terence McKenna has this very funny thing. He goes, I really try to control the environment. I'll try my best. I can't do his voice. He's got such a weird... Now, I really don't like going outside, because if you take a trip outside, the damnedest things will happen. I mean, grizzly bears will attack you. Basically what he's saying, I can't do the impression, is that if you do not control the set and setting, and I can verify this, the weirdest shit will go down. You want to have your doors locked, you want to be in a silent, still room, you want to know that no one's going to be coming over or nothing, because psychedelics can often induce the feeling of a presence in the house, maybe. Like a trip I had not too long ago, I was seeing, the first time I encountered entities, which I have not spoke about yet. There were faces, they were entities, they were human faces, outlines, colourful, neon, in the darkness, kind of vague, but I recognised these faces. And the mechanism of recognition in another, you know when you see somebody out on the street and you go, do I know you? There's like a certain sensation to it. This is an awakening I had, that I was recognising these faces, these hallucinations. And it became clear to me that the human is a matrix of responses, thoughts, and constructs, in terms of you recognise someone, you can tell someone to do something, you can construct a concept, or you cannot. So you are a matrix of responses, and constructions and being and all sorts. But right, yeah, that screaming outside your garden sounds fucking mad, bro. Like, I often see fucked up shit. Like on this chair not too long ago, I looked at it and there was like a dismembered body on it. You know when you're young, yeah, and you're a child and you look at a pile of clothes and you're like, who's that? Like, you think it's like a being, and you just kind of shake there and you have quilts, like, what is that? And maybe that's something to do with the neuroplasticity that psychedelics induce. Maybe it's something to do with that nature. I often see cushions on the sofa, and instead it looks somewhat like a man. I don't see a full-blown hallucination, but often I'll look at a car out my window down the street, and I'll see like a dismembered body in there, vaguely. It's not like a full-blown hallucination, as in, and if people are unfamiliar, you don't literally see objects for the most part. That you can maybe on Datura or some mad shit, but for psilocybin mushrooms, they're more of like a sacred overlay hallucination, where there's like curves, and if there's a light, there will be a kind of pattern, geometry, sacred geometry emerging out of the center of the light. Because we are the real top G's in the higher realm of Shroomland, my trip sitter is my self-control. As for you, bro, yeah, that's it. I mean, look, in terms of mushrooms, I'm talking, I have mastered mushrooms. I will never need a trip sitter, I do not believe. I've taken 7 grams very consistently. There's live streams of me sat here in the same nature where I'm just fucking talking on a whim on 7 grams at my desk. So I feel like partly the reason I learned this so deeply is because of my reality-shattering terror trips. Now I have no choice but to remain conscious, because to slip into them realms is not a choice, as if anybody were to approach me in them states, I would look at them like a shell of an egoic being, for the most part. And I could say or do anything, because when you slip into them deep states, it's next level. Right, let's see what Key's saying. Imagine the sound of Earth screaming if you can. It's the best way I can describe it. What freaked me out is I looked at my phone and it was 3 a.m-ish. Yeah, that's fucked up, bro. I closed the door, went in my room, closed my eyes, and I swear I was talking to myself in my head, saying, "Come on then, scream again, show me what you want to show me. I can take it, come on." Then I sat there, meditated for about half an hour, and just sat in bliss. It's so weird because it switched from darkness to pure love within 5 minutes. OXSN, my bro, please don't think about Datura, man. It's not worth it. I wouldn't even call it a psychedelic. It can literally kill you easily. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's really other realms. The true psychedelics are deemed psilocybin, DMT. LSD is like what's deemed as semi-synthetic, but there's no lethal dose for the most part. It's a much more, the reason I don't fuck with LSD so much, and I may have mastered LSD as well if I actually knew how to get hold of it, but the thing about mushrooms is they're mushrooms, so there's no second guessing what you've ingested. So at any point, if I ingest mushrooms, I can sit back and I can have a trust and an intuition that I've built with the substance, because mushrooms are holistic. This is a good point. But yeah, no, I ain't gonna look into Datura, not really. I mean, I may do in the future, but it's like I'll look into it, but whether or not I actually ever do it, don't worry. I ain't gonna go there in a naive fashion, no way. And I feel like if you're gonna do something like Datura, then that probably does imply a trip sitter. But that's the thing. I think probably a trip sitter is a good idea. Whether or not you actually really want them about, because Terence McKenna's take on trip sitters was he would be rather concerned if someone was aware and observant of his state of being, because it seems to often look like this is a concern for crisis, because you can do very strange things, you can kind of start acting like an animal, and it really transcends any notion of what's deemed normal or cringe, and through this I'd much rather not be around anybody, because I do very strange things on psychedelics, as everybody does. The Quentin experiment almost took all his clothes off and ran away on a beach or something. Right, and then obviously normal Western sober human could see this as cause for concern. So only have a trip sitter if they are very conscious of what exactly this experience is, and preferably if they've had psychedelic experience in the past, and maybe even a bit of their own dose. Like a tiny dose. Alright, Key is saying mushrooms have a way more natural feel to them for sure. LSD I love, though not for evolving my mind. More of the feeling, which isn't what I do them for. I just enjoy LSD more most of the time. But saying that, I haven't done shrooms for a while now. See, LSD I'm very interested in. LSD for me is a much more energetic, and it kind of feels more synthetic and digital. LSD in my experience is digital. Mushrooms in my experience is earthy and organic. And it's this organic nature of... And I actually combined LSD and mushrooms, which I never released the trip report. But tell me if you agree on that, Key. I'm very... Yeah, LSD is more stimulating. I listened to a... some crazy, like, techno singing, perfect in my view, music, and it was super, like, digital mad shit with all glitches in it and that, and it was literally like the fucking maddest shit ever. And the LSD synergized perfectly with this music and this amazing crisp quality of these headphones. I don't feel like mushrooms would particularly get me to that same digital space. So shrooms send you back to your roots, LSD blasts you into space. Yeah, see, and I don't know if this is definitely the case. I need to experiment a lot more with LSD, 100%. I'm very interested, but it's just very difficult because I have an unreleased trip report as well where I recently, and I spoke about this on a short of my channel about self-love, and basically I was saying that if I acted from a place of self-love, I would have never ingested these 2 LSD tabs without testing them, which is what I done a couple times, and a time before that I actually ingested about 7 or 8 tabs, roughly. I'm not taking a piss. At least 7 tabs of LSD that showed negative on the test kit. It was vaguely positive, purple, on the test kit, and I wanted to take my chances. I learned from my mistakes. It was horrible. Trance music on LSD is next level. I feel like my brain bops with it. My brain literally dances in tune with the beat. Well, yeah, you can't separate yourself from music in a trip. And trust me, listening to music on psychedelics is one of the best things. And just general art, watching like crazy production music videos is, I don't do that really anymore, but I did for a few trips, and fuck me, they blow your mind, mate. Observing art is one of my favorite things to do on psychedelics. 7. Sorry, but that ain't LSD, bro. You'd still be tripping to this day. Yeah, it was, so I took the 7 fake tabs. I also took about 4 grams of mushrooms, I believe. Pink Floyd Echoes on LSD is a journey. I saw that on your story. It sounded like the cat's meowing because you put 2 cats licking a bowl of milk, and then it made some meow noise. But it was more like, have you seen the memes where like it's like an ironic meme where someone's like there and it will just go moo, and they'll like disappear with that same noise. I don't know if you're familiar. But so you can trust psilocybin magic mushrooms. In my experience, I realise I can talk about this shit for fucking hours, can't I? This might have to be a good source of my content. Because I mean, I have so much experience with psychedelics, I never really thought that I should just, like, why do I talk about so much other stuff when I just talk about psychedelics more? So, you can there's an intuition with magic mushrooms. Also, Pink Floyd, Money. You just get up and dance stupidly. Impossible not to. I'm definitely going to check out these tunes, don't you worry. I have tried to listen to Pink Floyd a few times. I do like their stuff, a lot of it, and yeah, if someone were to fucking switch on Pink Floyd on a whim while I was just tripping, that would be one of my favourite things, man. I'm so sick of only listening to my tunes. I want to trip with someone and they put on some spontaneous music that's just perfect, bro. When I took 2 tabs of LSD, or 1.5 tabs of LSD, it was my second psychedelic experience ever. And I was with my friend, who's where's how we cross out, probably doing nos, but I'm trying to go up and see my future swap. That was a lyric from my song Faz Massive. You better have heard it. But yeah, that guy, how we cross out, probably doing nos. I was in a hotel with him on LSD. It was a fucking crazy night, bro. I realised nothing mattered and I'd let go completely. Because I wasn't sure if the trip was going to work out, because we had to break into his like government provided hotel. So we like snuck in while tripping and raging off LSD, and this place was way too posh for our state of being. Anyway, we were going to go out for a zoot. I went out before him for some reason. I can't remember exactly. This was over 2 years ago. I said he was losing the plot the whole time. I was just trying to take care of him, but I was transcending. I was like, bro, nothing matters, and it was beautiful. I tripped with Sam. This is Key's thing, sorry. I tripped with Sam and Dylan from my Discord, and the highlight of the trip, they said, was the drive back from the national park. Windows down, Pink Floyd blasting full volume. Another world for real. Yeah, I would love that, bro. It's so magical. Psychedelics are the holy grail. Like a healthy drug that's used for personal development that enacts neurogenesis. Bro, if these didn't exist, I'm so happy I found these. They're so amazing. What was I just speaking on? Sorry. Fuck, I forgot. Sorry. Key will remind me, won't he? Oh yeah, so the hotel trip. So I said to my mate, make sure you actually come out and don't leave me like a dickhead, right? I went out in the car park at 3 AM. I could see his window and I was like, what you doing then? Are you coming out or what? Don't leave me here. I can't get in without you because I ain't got no fucking key and shit. And I didn't know where his room was and I was raging and it was really bait going in and out anyway. And he got kicked out the next day actually. So it's a good thing it worked on this day. But I said, what are you doing then, you cunt? Are you coming out or are you just going to leave me sat in? He left me in this car park for what felt good like an hour and a half. Just in the dark, outside. And I was just staring at him in the window, trying to do the best visual communication. What are you doing? Come out. And he was just stood in the mirror like, not doing nothing. In the window, sorry. Because he was losing the plot. But the reason I bring this story up is because there were speakers playing outside this hotel that played the most peculiar, perfect music. And this is the kind of thing with schizophrenia. I was watching a document or something about schizophrenia, right? I don't believe in I mean, obviously there's mental disorder, but basically schizophrenia is a state where you think on psychedelics. This happens a lot, and this is what I was saying is, you listen to this music and you think this music must be here exactly right now for this very moment, perfect for me. Like psychedelics make these crazy transcendent synchronicities that everything that happens around you a lot of the time, and maybe it's some formation of some psychosis or schizophrenia or whatever, but you often perceive things and you're like, yeah, no wonder this has happened. I'm on psychedelics. Everything seems to be happening perfectly. Like there's some deep meaning to every mundane going on externally. Or, you know, you'll open your phone and you'll see an advert and you'll think it's some synchronicity to what you've just learned. Like it just confirms something. I don't know if you ever get that, Key, but especially on psychedelics I get that. It's the kind of like, you know how people think about the angel numbers, which is ultimately unverifiable, but I think it's anyone who normally perceives that notion of an angel number. Basically, if you look at the clock and it's 2:22 p.m, that means some crazy synchronicity, and it's that kind of those ideas definitely get induced a lot more in psychedelics in my experience. So yeah, this music that was being played spontaneously outside the hotel luckily made my stay amazing, because while he kicked me out of the hotel and was being a cunt, this music that was just being played at random was so trippy, and I never heard it again because I didn't have a phone, I didn't have any charge, and I was like so entranced by this music that came on for ages, and I was like, this music's perfect, bro. But yeah, that was beautiful. I love that kind of stuff. Music is inherently spiritual for me. Right, what is Key saying? The only person who's remember. I don't mind if you want to leave, by the way, Key, or whatever, but do what you got to do. Right, let's have a read. But I appreciate you sticking about and having a conversation. There's a movement trying to get shrooms legalized and classed as a nootropic. They are a nootropic, especially in low doses. I feel it physically in my brain, man. If I take a good dose of magic mushrooms, and whether or not I synergize it with cannabis, but it's there seems to be like, I often arise, if I take a heavy psychedelic trip, I come out the next morning feeling like an alien. And I arise, everything looks so much more present. I feel it in my brain. But what I mean by the nootropic is it feels like a healthy transformation in the brain. And it's actually up to 3 weeks after ingesting psilocybin. it increases brain activity, I believe. I can't verify that. Who did I hear that from? It was a video by the Science World or some shit. They got a red profile picture with white text. It was a really shit video. It's called Psychedelics, Chemicals and Consciousness. Some really stupid interview, like, for the most part. What I see, yeah, even when I went to this conference in Swindon about the science of psychedelics. Basically, the people who have not done enough psychedelics and are too deep in the Western rational paradigm, is they don't get it. It's like that you can see, like, the way they go about it. They're like, for example, yeah, someone was hating on actualize.org. Yes, get Dylan in here, thank you, Key. Someone was hating on actualize.org, yeah. I've watched so many hate videos on Actualize, and I can't help but disagree with most of them. He was... Actualize.org was kind of advocating 5-MeO-DMT, but even only for himself, right? I remember he was advocating for it, like, himself. He takes it, and he was talking about how profound it was, and this Western NPC was like, yeah, you gotta take it in a controlled science experiment environment, and it's like, what was it? Like, he thinks you have to take it in, like, a controlled study environment, as if that won't, like, influence it. I don't know, it's just the Western paradigm is out of touch with the spiritual kind of intuition. They think everything has to be, like, measured and scientific, and it's like I went to this conference and he was speaking about how they can potentially induce psychosis, and it was actually, I asked a question and he looked back at me as if he'd intuited that I had some form of drug-induced psychosis, and it got to me for a bit because I was enjoying the lecture, and he kind of implied that I lost the plot a bit, maybe. Like, I feel like he could see it in my face. But what I realised is the idea that psychosis exists is only because it doesn't fit in with the Western paradigm for the most part. I understand how you can be completely dysfunctional, but like, trust me, I do know some schizophrenic, psychosis people who are completely dysfunctional. That's not me, but it all stems from the idea of an objective truth, in terms of, like, you're crazy, but I'm not. And that whole notion just throws away the kind of the perspectival nature of reality. Alright, what else we got on here? Who is Task? I'll read your thing in a second. Hold on one second. See, so many people seem... This is key. So many people seem to think that I don't believe in that stuff because the vibe I give on my channel. I literally have the number 11 tattooed on me, lol. I see it too often for it to just be random. Mine is 115. In a random song by James Blake called Summer of Now, which I'm so happy I just remembered that tune. That's such a banger. And it actually, I found it on my first round of psychedelic abuse, the first time I got my hands on mushrooms, and with no context in the middle of the song, it says, I want to visit you there in room 115. I tried to research, I was like, why did he say that? I couldn't figure it out. Maybe it was some inside joke sort of thing, but now I see 115 everywhere, always. But of course, that's just like how numbers appear. There's a strong chance of the number 11 just appearing out in reality, but I don't really believe in an external world. I don't think there are any mistakes, and any meaning that you apply to it just becomes real in a way. It's difficult, the angel number thing, but I do that intuition of when you consistently see a number, you're like, you look at it, and I'm sure you look at the number 11, yeah, and like part of you is like, oh, it's that number again. But then the other part of you is like, well, I don't really know. And that's what I'm like with 115. I see it everywhere all the time. I don't see any other set of numbers. It's just this particular set. And when I see it, there's half of me that's like, the universe. And then the other half of me is just like, it's just by chance. But there's no such thing as coincidence. Task says, did you see that the government wanted weed back to a Class A, but Prime Minister said no and kept it to a Class B? I heard about that. Who educated me on that the other day? That is insanity. If that were to actually take place and go down, then it would only divide us further. Why the UK would go against the grain when the rest of the world is in the process of legalising this substance would be a detriment. They've already fucked their reputation enough. Key says, I'll say I don't know for certain to literally everything, but seeing it that often sure does make me think. Yeah, there's like a deeper unknowing to everything, I think, but Dan Jefferson. Yes, Dan, how are you? Don't fucking leave, you this guy is, he was, well, I won't go into your nature, I ain't gonna just expose you, but how are you, Dan? I know him in the flesh realm. We used to go to school together. And he's definitely into the spiritual and awakening things. Imagine putting weed in the same category as heroin. To be fair, mushroom so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I know what you mean. If you actually look at the graph of toxicity, alcohol is at the top, and then way down here we got LSD and then psilocybin. Psilocybin is the least toxic drug we know of, and it is the most powerful teacher. Like I say, it's like the Holy Grail. It's a healthy drug that provides neurogenesis and is used for divine insights and personal development. So it's the Holy Grail. So Dan, can you please tell me more about why you're leaving the UK ASAP? There's a video on my channel called Walking Out of the Pain Matrix That Is the West. By the West, of course, that implies the UK as well. And by this I just mean, I think there's a, as I was saying with the scientists not really understanding the spiritual intuition, always trying to conduct loads of studies and get it into a controlled research environment and all this shit. It's laughable to the shamans, it's absolutely laughable. I want to become a shaman. The idea of just breaking out of... Oh bro, let me tell you. I forgot about this insight. This was not that long ago. Terence McKenna was on about how if you're a slave, it's a video called What is Reality? A half-an-hour lecture. I listened to it twice. Very profound. And reality is like, there's like a bed, everyone assumes there's a bedrock to reality, right? And it was while I was tripping I was listening to this. And it was the notion that there's like a bedrock that you gotta come back to like reinforce, like, basically what he's saying is this is not true. The idea that there is a solid world out, like there's no external actual solid world, and it's through this cultivating a shamanistic approach to life and heavy psychedelic use, and also is you can transcend the notion that there is a, to somewhat you can push out, you can push the external world, and to an extent the external world can push you. This, as long as you're a victim to this mentality, you are most likely somewhat emotionally discontent. I, a stranger and afraid in a world I never made. But you can transcend this through the death of the ego and realizing there is no distinction between the self and the external world. Dan Jefferson, I just want to go somewhere sunny with eased up laws on weed and chill. Yeah, it took me a long time to learn how to spell psychedelics as well. I'm thinking of leaving too. I was looking at apartments in Portugal the other day, really thinking of it. UK is declining fast. Bro, the UK is so toxic. It makes me laugh, these environments. I can't lie. It's fucking... like I say, I was a bin man, and I was going to make a video about toxic work environments. I thought that it might not be wise, and I was literally just going to name drop bare corporations and my experience in them. Like, I don't want to be a victim to it, but it's the West is incredibly toxic, and if you don't get your money situation sorted out, and if you end up in one of these many bottom end jobs, prepared to sacrifice your health. I'm just going to put something on my Snapchat. Yo gamer, oh, fuck, why does it do that? Yo gamers, join the fucking live stream. There's Bearman and we're all talking, and it's Q&As, and anything that you have to say, I would love to have a speak. So check out the YouTubes, click the link, thank you. Yo gamers, join the fucking live stream. So yeah, ask anything you want or say anything you want, and we'll go there. But for the most part, I was giving psychedelic advice. So the main thing that I've spoke of, is to be more conscious before you go into the trip is ultimately the way to do so. You want to take the trip and you want to sit there, and this will get to my new strategy on taking psychedelics, which has got very profound insights, so we'll get to that very soon. But basically, the process of meditation is to heavily observe the matrix that is existence, and you can watch thoughts construct and arise, and deconstruct and de-arise. Arise and dissipate various things, thoughts, sensations. Your reality is ultimately a mishmash of emotions, sensations, thoughts. Key Parks said, when I got back from Portugal the other week, I realised this country is just work, nothing else. Ah, you're back from Portugal. That's a shame. Yeah, it's incredibly busy. It's quite harsh, the UK. It's quite breezy and cold, not just in terms of the temperature, I just mean the people and the work environments, you know, especially if you're like a labourer and thing. I mean, of course, this is stuff that's got to be done. Like, I ain't trying to be a pussy about it, but I just mean, like I say, very many toxic work environments that will treat you like a robot and a number. That's why I'm so angry at those who have money and power. Although I guess it's somewhat a fair game. I'm angry somewhat because of the pain that they cause so many people. It's just like a pyramid scheme being set up on purpose for those at the bottom to have a real hard time to rise to the top. There's nothing stopping you but yourself. Don't be a victim. The victim mentality is the real virus. Victim mentality is the worst thing in the history of the world. It does not serve you. Even if it's not your fault, taking responsibility is re-empowering, as it implies you can do something about it. If you're a victim, even if it isn't your fault, even if you have the right to be a victim, it just implies you're ultimately a victim. I can't do anything, it's just happening to me. Don't be a victim. That is one of the most important teachings in the history of the universe. Actualized.org has an incredible video on victim mentality. I was just walking around in the sun, says Key Parks, climbing sand dunes and chilling on the beach, going to beach bars, even met a yoga woman over there. Here is totally a different vibe, just work and stay sad. Yeah, it's really the opposite of the culture I'm in search for. Especially when I look at these ayahuasca retreats, I realise that the prescribed culture that is the UK in particular and the West is they don't really want you to particularly see elsewhere. It has many benefits, but an intuition that I go by is that this is consciousness, this is reality, and therefore I know there's stuff out there. The idea that this is it, I will never accept this prescribed culture, and this is not where I will remain. The UK is just work, and I've never been abroad. Never in my life. I've never really left Oxfordshire. How fucked is that? I've never been on a plane. I've been told I would, like, by my family and that all my life, but it's poverty and all sorts and bad habits that lead to poverty. Right. Dan Jefferson says, I'm not bitching about being a labourer. We used to build houses as a community to keep others safe. Now it's copy-paste new builds as fast as possible. Yeah, I know what you mean. Bro, fly out somewhere when you get the chance. See the world in a different way. You see the world... Yeah, I will, bro. I know that travel, for me, will be a spiritual experience, no doubt. But, never had the chance to leave also. Fair enough. Yeah, it's, the UK is a very particular niche. That's why the work is so depressed. Yeah, I know what you mean, Dan. So basically what you're referring to is the lack of meaning. It's so disconnected from a communal meaning. No one wants to talk to you. No one really speaks to you on the street. No one even wants to know who you are when you're at work. What you're building for is like a form of evil, kind of, that's just destroying the planet. You're a cog in a machine that just buys materials from the builders merchants, cooks them up, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. We're killing the planet. And with this knowledge, there will be a shift very soon. The great thing about us killing the planet is we cannot continue. And as the Great Reset proposes, we need nothing short of a paradigm shift and to put nature as the center engine of our society. Not that I advocate the Great Reset. If you don't know about the Great Reset, it's the truest conspiracy there is. And it's going to happen. You will own nothing and you will be happy. I wrote some lyrics back in the day. What was it? Welcome to dystopia. You own nothing. We own ya. You are trapped, so book your jab. Fill out the form and download the app. Now enter your human code. If you don't know, you better get to know. Please enter your life ID and you'll go in pen if you disagree. I never released that tune. That was actually a sick tune, I can't lie. That's why the work is so depressing. Most jobs have no meaning. People just go for money to contribute to their system, not your own. Yeah, it's the disconnect with well, it's you work for money, and then inflation anyway. So it's this. I feel like a trading, more tribal sense is a lot more spiritual and connected to what's real. There's a huge disconnect. I'm not saying we should just hold hands and run into the sunsets and get rid of money. Obviously, it has its place, but you don't need it. But what it is ultimately, Dan and Key, what we're speaking on is, in terms of the jobs, is the jobs are not aligned with your core values. However, being a labourer would be aligned with your core values if it was for your community, your holistic community that shared love and resources. But it isn't. You're building to profit some faceless elite at the top of the pyramid, and that is where the problem lies. And everybody in this chat, this is it. Find your life purpose, okay? Because without finding your life purpose, as Leo Gura says, you're somewhat of a leaf blowing loose in the wind. When you find your life purpose, it orientates everything. My life purpose is to teach what I'm teaching here in many forms and to connect the dots and to do the best job I can. So it's when you find something as powerful as psychedelics as teaching, so I can just refer to psychedelics and try my best to pick up the pieces, and everyone has their own take on everything, so everyone articulating their own take on everything is inherently valuable, because I may resonate with somebody in a very particular way that maybe no one else has before. Maybe it's the way I talk, maybe it's my personality, maybe people perceive me to be more down to earth, or who knows. But what I was trying to say ultimately is the reason that your job kills your soul is because it's not aligned with your highest values, aka your life purpose. And to find out what your life purpose is, and when I used to think about life purpose, I thought, life purpose? I don't care if life has a purpose, I've got over that nihilism at this point. But no, it's not that. It's not life purpose as in, why are we all here? Why are we still here? Every night I can feel my leg. It's not that. It's life purpose as in your mission. Would you be down for a camping trip with me and some of my boys? Potentially, Dan. But it depends, because it depends like who you are. I mean, I would love to meet you. Like I say, you fucked off like way off on the other end of the world. I tried to meet you. But yes, I would be down for it. However, look, I know you've been going through a lot of awakening experience a lot recently, Dan. And that is what I'd love to see more of in you. It's not that, it's that you can't blame me, and I ain't gonna go into the details of like how you live your life, but I don't these days, especially recently, you won't really find me hanging around with people smoking cigarettes or sniffing mysterious sniff. I'm not saying that you do that, but it's those kind of habits that I'm just like, I ain't got time. I love to, and I do. I mean, I still hang with bare of those people, but until basically, like, I mean, I basically only just decided, I mean, because the only reason I used to hang with those people is because I used to try to take them with me, which is what I do with you, Dan, is I share my insights. I share my insights with my old NPC friends. I'm not calling you an NPC, but you know what I mean. Normal people, and I'm like, guys, wake up, psychedelics, all this. No one wants to hear it. I try to take everyone with me, but what I realise now is that you can't really save anybody. You can, and and I'd love to save everyone and take everyone with me, and it's one of the most fulfilling things ever, is to have people come back to you and go, bro, I thought you was a dickhead, now I had an awakening in that, I understand everything, it's all coming full circle. I feel I'm very ahead of my time, as if culture is going to catch up with me soon. And I have people coming back to me quite consistently, saying, "Oh my god, like, oh my god, this is why I try to like hook people up with psychedelics in a sense. I don't. I mean, when I say that, I mean I used to, or I'd want them to. Like, I wouldn't actually actively hook someone up with psychedelics. Because that would be illegal, and I don't do illegal things. But the reason I do so is because I want people to see. So I won't advocate anything, yeah, absolutely. You shouldn't do anything. You can smoke, you can sniff the mysterious sniffy sniff, you can smoke the mysterious smoky smoke if you want. There's no ultimate obligation for the reality. Do what you want. But, so I will never judge anybody ultimately. So I would never absolutely advocate psychedelics either. It just is what it is, do what you want to do. However, various people who have had psychedelic awakenings tend to come back to me and was like, I wish I listened to you a long time ago. And the only people who don't listen to me are those who have not invested in the psychedelics or any spiritual practice. What you'll notice when preaching in general, it's not that, or not preaching, it's not preaching this advice, what I'm giving you, you need to throw away that TV from your living room and stay away from and they're killing you, there's fluoride in your water, GMOs in your food. But it's not that people disagree, it's that they don't listen. They just get queasy, they look at you and go, oh, you're being a bit out there, you look a bit queasy. I ain't gonna listen to you because people are queasy. They detect the cringe, which is not real, objectively. It's just like a construction of the mind, and everything you judge is ultimately coming from your own internal insecurities, kind of. And it's kind of like people get queasy about shit and they won't listen, not because they don't agree, is that because they don't want to listen, because they don't care. It's like my mum says, she doesn't care about anything, yeah, and it doesn't matter how many times I fucking say it. She goes, yeah, but it's drugs. The idea, but it's drugs, is completely culturally prescribed, and people can't see past it. They will not. Can I show you my favourite picture in the world? I gotta get it up. I'll read your comments in a second, guys, sorry, but this is very relevant. And I'm sure you've all seen this at this point, because, oh, what the fuck? Why am I not on Facebook anymore? Alright, one second. You need to see this picture, it's worth waiting. It's on my Facebook. Whoa! I don't want to show you everything. Right, one second, let me just find it. It's basically what we were talking about, is everyone thinks you're crazy just because everyone else says you're crazy, but no one actually listens. Here it is. I love this picture. This is literally it, bro, and it doesn't matter what you propose. They're so dependent on the system. They're so ingrained in the status quo, and they haven't had their snow globe shaped by psychedelics, so they just can't see past it. This is my mum saying, but it's drugs. It's drugs though, it doesn't matter, it's drugs, remember? That's bad. Don't you remember what they said in the assembly in year 9? Education is indoctrination. That's a bar, I'm going to use that. Alright, I'll get back to it. I'm not hating on you, mum, I love you, but the idea that it's just drugs, that's not actually my mum. I love my mum. Okay, so Dan Jefferson said, it's going to be like bushcrafting and cooking over an open fire and smoke some bud and maybe trip. Yeah, Dan, I'm down. I didn't mean to air you for the most part, but wouldn't take any of the cess stuff. Yeah, Dan, I'm down. I'm very poor at the minute. But yeah, I'm super down for smoking some bud over a fire. Fuck me, that would be amazing, mate. And especially with the way I'm feeling these days, I just love life. Every day, I'm loving it. Even if it's a bad day. It's all in the mind, and it's through these awakenings that I've transcended so much. Key Park says, no TV, organic food, no weed, limit alcohol, better none, exercise, find purpose in life, etc. But it's drugs as they sip on their pint after coming out of the toilet off their nut. Yeah. Well, Key, so in terms of your no TV, organic food, no weed, limit alcohol, better none. Yeah, alcohol, I'm pretty sure I've decided this, I'm never going to ingest it ever again. So I'm not sure what your entire overall point. So when you say no weed, can I ask, you do have a video actually about quitting weed. But can I ask about, yeah, swap no weed with no alcohol. I agree. I mean, look, if you want to have a few drinks and that, like I say, I can't ultimately hate on no one. But, alcohol is... the idea that it's not that bad and you could have a drink here and there, again, a lot of it is potentially prescribed by culture. And it's hard because I haven't done full delve research, but it is like the most toxic drug on the fucking drug list thing. And I do drink every now and then. I had a drink here on the interview I done with the schizophrenic psychedelic geezer not long ago. Slowed me down much better without it. Yes, so weed is a very, very deep topic. And I feel it can be used properly. I think weed synergized with exercise can combat the slowing downness, but it does slow you down in terms of investing in it in the first place, smoking it, but alcohol is vile. I agree. I mean, shots and that, Alcohol is worse for your health. Better without both. So, a lot of people, there was this lyric from a rapper called Inspector Veg. I highly recommend you check out Inspector Veg, because he will teach you a lot about alkaline foods and health. And but one bar that he said in one thing was could have been in a shit job with a mortgage, 2 wife and a kids, but this is the life I choose. No cigarettes, no weed and no booze. Look off the news, illuminate, cause we ain't come here to lose. If you smoke weed, don't blow that shit around me. Rude boy, go over there, I don't wanna twos. Raise the vibration, hear my views. Synchronization, or something like that. But it's just interesting. There's such a contrast. Some people are advocates of weed. There's a story by Terence McKenna. Let me tell you this story. This is so fucking funny, trust me. So, tell me how you guys feel about this. So, Terence McKenna, he went to a island to write a book, and he was also contemplating quitting weed as he hadn't had a weedless breath of oxygen for about 25 years. So he quit weed when he got to this island, and he decided that he was going to write this book. And he'd smoke the joint. He'd smoke weed after he'd finished writing the book. So he wrote this book in 6 weeks, and when he finished it, he thought he was he had like a notion of how he was going to return back to the West with this holy grail of a book that he'd written. So he pulled out his lawn chair on the beach, he lit some joints, and this pressure kind of came on him. And when he finally decided to look deeper into this feeling, he realised that the book that he'd thought was the bollocks was dog shit. So essentially, I kind of ruined the story because I already spoke about how he thought he was going to be the Holy Grail. So the way that Terence spoke of it was so much better, because he built it up, he went to the island, he finished, and then he smoked the joint, and then he realised this is dog shit. How did I get here? How did I get here, lol? Lol, how are you recommended to me on YouTube? Weird, because I ate a mushroom chocolate bar like an hour ago. How is it going? How's the chocolate going? I didn't mean to skip over the rest of your stuff, but Key says, I enjoy 2 beers more than I would a joint, but that's just me. I love a joint. Beers to me, they don't do nothing. There's no fulfillment in drinking a beer for me at all. I love a joint. So I'll get back to it in a second, but I just want to say to the newcomer, hey newcomer, subscribe to my channel, because why not? It will literally give me happy dopamine chemicals for a minute, so you'll be doing positiveness for the world. So why don't you smash like? Thanks. And I do personal development and psychedelic content and things. Yeah, thank you. You're a G. But yeah, for me, alcohol does not really have any value. It's fun, and it lets you let loose, and it dissolves communication like barriers and filters that a lot of people have in social settings. But yeah, for me, joints, for me, weed can be incredibly powerful. I know Mr. Traumatic is another very strong advocate. But yeah, the story of Terence McKenna was speaking on how from that day forward he never really had he spends as much time as he can every day smoking weed, because he treats it as somewhat of a navigation tool. And this is a powerful concept, and this is now how I treat it. It's not that you want to be high all the time. It's definitely I have a video on my channel called "It Can Be Extremely Valuable to Quit Weed." It can be. I find weed can be incredibly valuable. Key, I know you don't particularly like it, but for me, for example, I was sober for 6 months. I quit weed for 6 months. I learned so much, and when I returned, the relief was from my rigid thinking mind. Certain drugs have certain practical uses in certain sets and settings and environments and situations. So weed can be useful to knock yourself out and have a fucking mad sleep, even though it decreases REM sleep and decreases testosterone production, I believe. Not 100% sure on that. Key says, I'm not against bud, but the people that smoke joints daily and tell me it cures cancer, bro, makes me crease. I honestly think that those smoke just to get high, most of them would be better off without it. Most people would be better off without weed. So, Key, let me propose this. I do think that you most likely would be better without the weed. Yes, sure. But there's a maturity, basically, that you have to learn how to use it. So the vast majority of people in the West smoke weed irresponsibly, immaturely. They don't know what they're doing. It takes a maturity and a reflection and a break from the weed, and this is what I said in my video about quitting weed, is that to take a step back but go sober and then return to it allows room for potential new ways of uses. For example, I love smoking weed before breath work and meditation. I find it can help a lot, but that's it. There's certain instances where drugs are useful. It depends, man. It depends. There's no good or but. Can we all agree in the chat right now, please, that the idea of a bad drug and a good drug is a construction? There's no such thing. Weed can be incredibly useful. Alcohol, I'm sure, can be useful. Even Big Pharma, crazy fucking Zydroprafolam or whatever the fuck that doesn't exist, but that's how it's all called these days. Something of that nature. They're not. People don't be ideological about it. Ideology is like people who are vegans are like, eating meat is nothing but a cannibalistic expression of Satanism. And then there's Jordan Peterson, who can basically only survive if he only eats beef. And then it's the same for people hate on all of the big pharma, and they're like, you need to switch to the herbs. What was it? Everyone is taking synthetic drugs every day. You need to fucking switch it over to the herbs. They tell us tablets are medicine, but stay away from plants because they're dangerous. That's so absurd. I know it doesn't seem very fucking real, but trust me, it is. I've done my research. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of hours of investigation. It's so emotional it hurts. So fuck the governments, I hate you. All of you, I hope you all die from a fluoride overdose. I had a brace, I embraced it, but sticking mercury in people's faces is gonna leave them comatose. That's one of the most deadly chemicals in the whole wide world, and it's fucking with their chromosomes. Trust me, I've done my research. If you haven't, oh, stop claiming that you know the most, you dickhead, because one amalgam filling releases 15 milligrams of vapor on a daily basis. I've had 13 of these fillings on my face for over 10 years, wow, and now it's time to face it, because slowly they're killing me. I'm feeling all their symptoms. I'm hoping there's enough time to change it. If not, don't worry, when I die, I ain't never coming back to this holographic matrix. I don't mean to just fill all of my shit with bars, but every time I like think of certain topics, I've heard lyrics and songs talking of that exact top. So I love finding all content of the same nature, because it's like kind of a connecting the dots sort of thing. But, right, let me hurry up with your comments. That went off. What the fuck was I even talking about? But yeah, it's don't be ideological. Like, yeah, so drugs aren't inherently bad. Same with all of reality. It's the way that you perceive it, and depending on the situation. But yeah, I think most Westerners and unconscious weed smokers who just pick up weed from a young age could do with a break and a deep reflection on how exactly they use it. So when I quit weed, my life transformed for the better. Absolutely, it was amazing. But I don't think that was inherently just the weed. It's that I didn't know how to do it, and it had become like a habitual, unconscious habit. So what else have we got? Lol, it's right. Nothing like real shroom though. The comparison is like Delta 8 to a dab. I'm unfamiliar with Delta 8 to a dab. Shroom chocolate, you see, you don't actually know what the dose is. It may say on the packet, but I'd love to try shroom chocolate. But yeah, there's no point really. I just want mushrooms. Like, why put it in chocolate? But yeah, I mean, I love mushrooms, man. I got to a point where I was like, I need to be on mushrooms every day because they're just so, I just feel so overpowered. And I don't think it's delusion at this point. I smoked bud for years, and since stopping I've felt much better within myself. Energy levels, motivation, mental clarity, etc. Yeah, mental clarity spikes, certainly. Memories become a lot more solid and linear. There is so much benefit to quitting weed. But I don't, just because you quit weed and everything changed for the better, that's exactly what happened to me twice. And well, is it kind of, not really. I quit weed for 6 months. Well, no, it was on and off, but weed is a heavy distraction for a lot of people, and I don't think you should really be engaged with it too heavily. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you should focus on your career and your job and all sorts. These things can be powerful tools for insights, spiritual purposes, but people do not use. It's not the substances, right? It's how you use the substances. That's my conclusion. Most people are NPCs, so most people are going to use weed in an NPC manner. To be fair, when you get munchies, a shroom chocolate would be sick. Me, the combination of... Also, another very powerful thing to think of. When I quit weed, psychedelics expanded 100-fold. No doubt. They got way madder. I didn't even have my first real awakening until I quit weed. Every one of my first... I brought like an ounce and a half, yeah, and I'd done it within like 2 months when I was 16. Every other week, as many as I could. I thought I'd better get them down before they go off or something. I was very naive, and that definitely done something to my mind. I did not feel the same after that ever again. But I was smoking weed on every trip. Then I quit weed for 6 months, which got me into a way better place mentally anyway, in terms of clarity, as you say, Key. But the experience became crazy more expansive, and I feel like the weed will certainly steer the trip in a certain direction. But one of my favourite things to do, in a sense, is when I quit for 6 months, yeah, I didn't return to weed until I was on a 7-gram mushroom trip. So, cold turkey weed for 6 months, not a single drag. Then I returned to weed while tripping on 7 grams of mushrooms, and the trip had, for the most part, it had passed the peak, and I went, fuck it, I'm gonna have a joint. This made my reality and my visuals so abstract, it was absolutely transcendent. It's like I was looking at my kitchen at one point. It was no longer a kitchen. There was no conceptual of what it was. There was no previous filtering, like how your eyes automatically. It was just a pure abstract kitchen. And I know that sounds crazy, but it started backing into itself and backing out of itself, and before I know it, it was so abstract. Psychedelics induce abstractness. And the same, I was laying down in bed, I was looking out the window, and it done the same thing. Something that Terence McKenna said, this is crazy, and this was the same phenomenon actually. He said he was looking at flamed cypress tree. Alright, I'm not actually familiar with what exactly a flamed cypress tree is, so why don't we find out. Flame tree cypress. Okay. So Terence McKenna was looking at one of these, and the phenomena of the psychedelic shift took place. And this is what happened with my kitchen and with my window. And this was before I even heard about Terence's concept, and I become directly conscious of this myself. So what Terence McKenna saw, it was nighttime, a flame cypress tree against like a plain background, and the psychedelics invoke a shift, yeah, where it's no longer, for him it was no longer a flame cypress tree. Once the psychedelic clicked, it became like, I don't remember exactly, but the tree was like sand pouring down from something else which was at the top. So what I'm saying is there's a perspective shift that takes place very frequently in psychedelic spaces, which is I was looking at my window once upon a time, yeah, and then it's no longer a window. Oh yeah. I was listening to a lecture called Sudden Enlightenment by Alan Watts. Half an hour, profound lecture. I recommend everyone listens to it. It's the best lecture of his I've found thus far. And I was sat outside and he was speaking about enlightenment, and he said enlightenment must happen suddenly. And then supposedly, as far as I was conscious, it happened. It was an amazing trip quite a while ago now, a few months ago. And when he said that, the visual shift took place, and I was sat outside on a swing smoking a joint on 7 grams, I think, maybe. And the same shift took place where once it was a garden with like some shelter thing above me, and then the shift took place where the shelter became like a liquid, and it wasn't no longer a garden, it was just the pure abstract visual field, disconnected from the knowledge that your mind inherently automatically constructs about any visual phenomena. I smoked bud for years, but since I already read that. Yeah, well, I trip loads, bro. I'm still not allowed to trip, basically, and I don't blame them, because my life did go upside down. Even actualize.org says if you abuse these substances, your life will turn upside down. But it was my goal. I found the psychosis and the all that sort of stuff. I found it so intriguing. I was like, I kind of want to lose the plot on psychedelics before I did, because I almost intuited that there was some truth in there, and now I feel like I embody it. And psychedelic abuse is the best vehicle to get to this state where I lived in awe for like a good year. That kind of faded eventually, but psychedelics are the real secret. The real secret. You're using it in a good way. Most people are being real, don't think like you. Yeah. Well, in terms of weed, I don't think I necessarily use it in a good way. I don't necessarily embody a lot of what I say. I know that weed can be used in a good way. I'm definitely progressing. But weed has a tendency to make people vegetables. It makes you okay with being bored and all sorts, if that's what you're talking about. Most that smoke don't use it as a tool like you, therefore basically revolves around getting high. Yeah, well, I mean, these days I use it as a tool for the most part. Yeah, I smoke it, and I'm aware that this feeling in my brain can be used for accessing certain states of consciousness, and it shifted to from a just getting high to a much more from getting high to a more spiritual exploration perspective. I didn't mean to ignore your comment, Dan, sorry. He said, coming from me, I've never had a bad experience on drugs unless I mixed with alcohol. My friend mixed 3.5 grams of psilocybin mushrooms with whiskey, and he ended up cutting himself, cutting his stomach, and he fell into complete delusion about how he was going to transcend reality through pain, basically torture. He's going to transcend the ego. Alan Watts speak of torture victims. The hardest part of a torture victim is the beginning, as it is connected to the mental construct of this is the death of the self, and when the torture victim has gone through enough torture, you transcend the idea of this is the end of me because it's too much, and the patient then works with the far out abstract sensation that is pain, that no longer becomes negative. So it's the idea that true enlightenment can embody all suffering, as all suffering supposedly... Yeah, I know, shrooms and whiskey. I don't fucking know, bro. I know. It's fucking silly. But, I mean... I don't know why he would drink. I did consume 1 gram of mushrooms with some alcohol a while ago. I mean, like, it was like over a year ago. It's not a good idea. That's where the danger lies. Terence McKenna speaks a lot on dangers lying in synergies. Quite a while ago now, a few months ago, lol. That would be a recent trip for me. You're on your way to becoming a shaman at this point. Well, yeah. Bro, what I realised, like, I tried to quit psychedelics in a way, but when I go back, I'm like, when I'm in that state, I'm like, the more psychedelics, the better. I mean, look, I was even thinking about, like, I mean, obviously it depends. You can't just, like, prescribe yourself as a shaman, but, I mean, in many ways, perceive myself as some form of a shaman. Because I've transcended, like, the normal state of consciousness even without the psychedelics. Like, it hasn't left. I embody this psychosisness, and shamans are schizophrenic. Kind of. They swim in the same sea. I've had a Corona a couple hours after coming down, but never before while stripping. No. It's not wise, bro. It's not wise. You especially with something that's deemed somewhat toxic. We know that alcohol encompasses delusion. They can be fun, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't drink, absolutely, you know what I mean, but I think you can agree with me, Key, that alcohol has delusion in its nature. And so do psychedelics, but it's crazy to me how, like, why our culture has adapted such a boring drug and just ruled out. Like, look at this, man. You want to drink alcohol, but you don't want to see that. You don't want to embody and meet this entity, but you want to drink fucking alcohol. You heard my pizza story on my psych trip. I have not heard your pizza story. I want to hear your pizza story. What the fuck? Alcohol is the worst, mate, mainly because of how popular and normalised it is. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really trust it, to be honest. I think, I'm very particular with my... I won't ever fucking... Because some of that alcohol, mate, like, if you pour some of that on, like, a car bonnet, it'd fucking take the paint off. That's how strong that shit is. Like, it literally smells like nail varnish remover. And it's... literally burns you. That's when you know it's poison. Like, fucking hell. But the alcohol I would potentially fuck with in the future... I'd have to do a lot more research on it. But it's like wines, potentially. I don't really... I'm not concerned about the taste. I'm more concerned about the organicness and the nature of it. I'm never going to be... you'll never, ever catch me taking a shot of vodka or whiskey. I'm sure you probably do to an extent, Key, but each their own. But that shit is fucking burns you. I mean, I've done it a lot in the past. I used to drink a lot when I was naive and when I was a kid. Because that's what happens. You just... Oh, I'm going to have a kid and just let him go into the Matrix. And then he's just going to start fucking drinking like everyone else. Sure. After my trip, I was hungry, so I ordered a pizza. To keep it short, I looked at it and felt sick. Coming up. From that experience, my processed food consumption is down. You ordered a pizza while you were tripping. And it made you realise, what the fuck is this garbage? I looked at it and said, "This ain't food, lol." I just closed the box in my kitchen and didn't touch it. Yeah. Pizza is some of the worst shit ever, mate. It's greasy, like, it's just bread, like, bro. And it makes you feel fucking really bad. Sometimes I manage to lie to myself. You know, like the fake healthy things, like the granola bars and the kind bars, like the nut bars, and like you could get a lot of healthy processed packaging. When I'm sober, and this relates to what you're speaking on here, is I can fool myself into eating these healthy processed bars because I'm like, oh, it says plant-based on it. When I'm on psychedelics, there's absolutely no way around it. I look at it and I cannot lie to myself. It just doesn't. I eat it and I'm like, this is just sugar. It's just sugar. But when I'm sober, I can see something that says plant-based. I go, oh, and that's like a trick I play on myself to eat that. And that's the corporation's agenda, is to design it to look healthy so that some people will bypass. You're eating junk food, but because it looks healthy on the packaging, how fucking thick have you got to be? You don't eat the packaging, you eat the ingredients. Read the ingredients. Right, nah, I came down and was chilling to music, so I ordered the pizza. Never again. I haven't eaten a pizza since that, and it was about a year ago. Rather a ribeye. Or lentils for the veggies out there. Rather a ribeye. Or see, I'm unfamiliar with those two words. Are they foods or are they fucking? I feel stupid. Don't. If anyone asks me, like, you know them people who do them like IQ test on the street where they ask you about World War whatever the fuck, or they ask you just like details of nature of history and geographic facts. I fail at all of that. I don't care. I mean, I do care about history. I understand how naive it is to say that, but it's I mean, I almost don't, because it's not super relevant. I'd rather just focus on like, but I can't, like, if someone was to like stop me in the street and do them NPC test where they just start asking me facts about fucking how many continents there are, I'll be like, I don't know. I know what your agenda is here to make me look stupid because I don't know the facts, but honestly I don't really fucking care. But I feel like that's something I fail on. I talk, yeah, I know so much about this, but I really don't know an awful lot about fuck all else, honestly. It's bad. If it has more than 3 ingredients, I don't have it. I don't even have protein powder anymore for the gym. I just eat oats, greens, and lots of organic steaks, fruit occasionally. Do you ever eat like processed bars? I'm sure you must have like chocolate every now and then, and processed sugar, which processed sugar is a fucking massive killer next to alcohol, I believe. I don't know if you saw my story. This, I'm just gonna play it. Ribeye is a type of steak. Yeah, I feel like I'm familiar somewhat. Lentils is legume. Good source of protein for those that don't eat meat. Tasty too. When a vegan who eats veggie McDonald's burger says to me, "Your steak isn't healthy, it's harmful to the planet," I can't help but get goosebumps of cringe pulsating through my body. I know, it's insane. The fake health is massive. Real health is organic and alkaline. Not a muck plant, mate. I will never fall for that shit. Fake meat, everyone knows the fake meat is awful, but it looks healthy. It's just an illusion. Honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't. I'd say if I did, only sugar I have is 1 teaspoon in my morning coffee. I'm strict on my diet now, have been for a few months. Feel amazing. Yeah, I need to. I've been struggling, especially recently. This is what I was. Listen to this. I don't know if you heard this on my story. It's quite funny. It's a skit by Inspector Veg, but.
You use Google Chrome.
Oh.
You use Gmail.
It's the intro for his album.
So why would you not
Come
use
on.
your phone as well? It just makes sense and a bit more.
Drinking their soy milk latte as they tell me my organic steak is bad. Yeah, soy milk is meant to be proper bad, isn't it? It like defeminizes men as well, supposedly. There's a lot of that in there, but yeah, I avoid soya now. I try to. Yeah, listen to this. It's well funny. Hold on.
Yo, I just got bare missed calls off you.
Yeah, did you get EP?
Bro, yeah, DP's hard, you know. But it's a bit of a mad one still. I'm just thinking people hearing it that have got like family licked off by corona or whatever, and I'm hearing a lot of things you're saying, but some things are a bit moody to hear, you get me? So I'm a little bit wary of it.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, all you know is that people are dying. Yeah, people have been dying every single day from the sugar, from the alcohol, from the cigarettes, from the processed food. I mean, for example, refined sugar is called hyperactivity and leads to emotional instability, and it's what we start our children on. So food is killing us every day. Food is the biggest killer, and they're not saying nothing about the food, obviously, because sick people are easy to control. The people that got into a position of power where they are now have enough wickedness to get where they are now. So I don't trust them at all. If they really cared about us, they would show us that the food is killing us at the end of the day. So for them to scare us into a self-imposed house arrest in March and tell us that we've all got to stay in cages and we've got to be scared of each other, but give us no information on the immune system, I'm not buying that, and people need to hear this music, man.
It's like he's like, oh, people are a bit queasy because you're hating on the coronavirus, and he's like, yeah, well, I mean, all this processed sugar's killing us every day. It's just he completely disregards the whole notion of corona, and they will. YouTube, don't take me down, please, bro, for fuck's sake. I won't. I got a very important video to make soon about YouTube censoring, because I had an experience recently. I'll get to it. I'm strict on my own. Yeah, only plant milk that is healthy is coconut milk from an actual coconut. Yeah, innit? There's so much like you'll get coconut milk and you'll go, oh yeah, or whatever, and then you'll turn it around and it'll say in the bottom on small text, not really. Do you ever get that? Like, I thought I had some water infection years ago, yeah, and I know I was stupid, I was just young, but you have to bump your head on these errors and learn. But I eventually realised how well, I was drinking cranberry juice to counteract this water infection, supposedly, and then I realised after drinking this cranberry juice for ages, because I was young and naive and I just didn't pay attention, I guess, I just thought, oh, cranberry juice, that must be cranberry juice, right? I mean, it does say cranberry juice on it. Nah, it's not actually. It's like some fucked like concentrate version. It's not even actual. What is the nature of concentrate? I swear that shit is no good, is it? That's not actually. That's not cranberry juice. Cranberry juice. I'm looking for the juice out of a cranberry by its own definition. I'm not looking for whatever this weird. She turned it around. Oh, cranberry juice. Really? It's got like 70 ingredients. Yeah, fruit juice is fucked. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've been looking at that as well. Fruit juices, you should avoid it. And it's like, it's fucking crazy, man. That's what I mean. It's like, there's almost like an agenda to make it really difficult to be healthy. And this is what I'm struggling with now. Well, I think I might like somewhat end it there, if you're cool. It's been an hour and fucking 45 minutes. I appreciate you sticking around and chilling, bro. I feel like it's been a good talk, and it adds value as well. Yeah, smoothies. Yeah, just enjoy. Yeah, smoothies. So there were very interesting something that I don't know if you're familiar with Joey Diaz. I sent my mum a reel. I'll play it for you. It's quite interesting.
Eating a banana and putting a banana in a blender is two different things. I did not know that. One day I said, let me put a banana in this motherfucker just to see. And I'm like, damn, this is delicious. I'm on to something. I gained weight that week. I didn't know what it was.
From the banana?
When you blend a banana, it's 8 points. What? When you eat a banana, it's Ugats.
What? It's 0
How's that
points?
for you? Because when you eat fruit and when you drink fruit, it's two different things. That's why all these fat people, when you see them going, I don't eat breakfast, I drink a smoothie. You're killing yourself.
I don't know if it's the same context, because obviously if you blend it, I don't know, apparently if you blend a fruit, it's a completely different context than if you eat it. But I don't imagine that's exactly what you was talking about. I mean, when you get it from the supermarket, obviously these things last for months. Fruit does not last for months. What you're telling me, you blend it up and put it in a bottle, put it on the shelf, it lasts for like 5 months, does it? No fucking way. Some of them last like, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's a I don't know what that guy was saying about the blending it up and being more fat points. Maybe it's the way that your body interprets you drinking it over actually chewing on it. And because I know when you chew gum, it releases certain acids, I believe, because it thinks you're eating. But yeah, it's weird to think about. I never really thought about it too much. I was drinking smoothies every single day, and I didn't really realize how unhealthy. But especially everything in grocery stores and Western supermarkets, you should avoid for the most part. Bite an apple within 6 hours, it will be brown and start going off. That should say everything. Yeah, I know. It's not even 6 hours, bro. It literally happens like immediately. If you bite an apple and don't finish it, it's like fucked. That's what I'm saying, man. It's weird, isn't it? Oh. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know why. I feel like I'll end it. I don't even particularly want to go. I feel like we're having a good conversation, but I really do appreciate you coming on the stream and having a talk. I feel like it's been good, and I appreciate it because it just shows some form of interest. You know, you're the only person who's really stuck around for the longest time. So you've been on my channel since I only had like 3 videos up, I remember. So I really appreciate you sticking around, man, and interacting and that. So I'm gonna get some sleep anyways. It's been a good talk. Alright, well, I'll say bye to you here and now. Bless as fuck, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. I really hope to meet you one day, and I'm sure we will. So, and your videos, by the way, the longer ones with much more powerful and direct. The one about depression and the one about the I watched the video of yours of the best drug in the world while on psychedelics, and I resonated with it very hard. I didn't want to say that because of many reasons, because people are censoring me. It's difficult, but yeah, keep it up, bro. All right, I'll let you go now. I'll just pretend that you've gone, so you ain't got to stick around so that you say bye properly. Let's just say that you said bye. If you're happy with that. But yeah, that was a sick conversation overall. I enjoyed that. I feel like there was a lot of good talking in there. And now, you know what? Well, the thing about the live streams is I can't, like, I have to re-download it. What, on the best drug ever? Mate, I thought that video was the bollocks. Literally, it was facts, bro. Real freedom. It's the same reason why people hate on actualize.org, is because they can't do it. And I resonate with that, because it's so hard to self-actualize and to get real freedom that people just can't help but to get defensive because the truth is so painful. They have to pretend that that's not the truth because it's just too much. But I rated that video, mate. That was a powerful video. Who the fuck hated on that video? That video was fucking awesome. Like, and I'm literally saying that. It's like the way that you speak as well. It was so like direct. And it was powerful. And the fact that you embody what you speak of really gave it power. Which is something I gotta fucking get on a lot more. I don't embody a lot of my stuff. I do a lot more now, but yeah, well, I thought that was a good video, man. I love how you wear sunglasses in all your videos now. I've only just noticed that. Wow, most of them. You get good views as well for the most part. When there's no trust, just like this, in this whole world. I gotta figure out my website. My website is so fucked. Alright, well, I'm gonna end it there. I assume you're gone anyway, Kai, but Key. Fucking hell. Why do I always want to call you Kai? Oh yeah. It does say Kai, kind of. Key. I'm glad you said about being direct. It's what I'm trying to go for, as that's how I am in person, so it's easier to speak just how I do than soften myself. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I thought that video was good, man, because it was facts, because it's true. True freedom is something that many of the viewers, and I'll tell you, I was listening to Actualize earlier about leadership, and this is important for cultivating something for your channel. This is just some general advice, is something that I learned. Is that video there, the reason why it's so powerful is because you're presenting a vision of freedom, and when you present a vision, a powerful vision, when people catch on to that vision, that's when they become followers and they will fight for your vision. That's why Actualize.org is portrayed as a cult by many people, is because when I realised this guy's vision, the bigger picture, I now sell his product for him because it's so great and I want to actualise this vision globally. You know what I mean? So when you're speaking of a taste of real freedom, the vast majority of those viewers have never tasted that real freedom, so they will go, wow, that sounds good, that's a great vision, I would like to join you on the pursuit of this vision. So all I'm saying is to build a strong vision at the center of your channel and everything, of, you know, your lifestyle, as I was saying, traveling for a lifestyle for free, or however you want to say it exactly, and proving that you embody this lifestyle, and repetitive like reinforcement of this vision is what keeps people tied to helping you. Because if I advocate for your vision, and if your life purpose fits in with my life purpose, and your highest values are my highest values, then helping each other can be seen in like a selfish manner. You get me? That shows a lot about you, mate. Most got offended. You took it in and realised what I was saying. Very true. If you deep it, this might sound bad, but I'm gonna say it anyways. To build an audience, touch people's emotions so they become somewhat dependent on your message, if you get me. Goes with what you're saying, I think. Yeah, well, it's not that you're dependent, but it's basically, the way that Actualize put it earlier is most people are bad visionaries. And we look for teachings, not that... teachings, and what a leader is, the way that he deconstructed it to me today, was... to be a powerful leader is to be a powerful visionary. And to build a strong consensus of a powerful future. And then when you get the audience to build the consensus with you and agree with your vision, and you connect on those values together, then they like join you on your mission. This is why I literally promote like Actualize to Fuck and Traumatic and these other people, because if they're on the same agenda as me, same as you, to promote you is to help. Yeah. Hello DJ someone. Hello, how are you? Well, look, Key, you can still leave because I was basically gonna end the stream, but I'll talk to DJ. I don't know. Oh wait, is that that's a who is that? I know who that is. That's, oh, do we know who that is? Well, I subscribed anyway. Who are you? If you show a life you're living that most are not living, people want to change, therefore they will become kind of addicted to your message. Yeah, because it's a reinforcement of a vision. For me to build a vision in my own mind is motivational. So to see a vision in your life is also the same motivation. I was on here on the last minute, mate. We talked for a bit. At the end, just us two. What? What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck? What the fuck are you... Bro, you missed it, bro. You should have been here. While you were busy fucking drinking poison, we were literally just dissecting reality for 2 hours. Bro, look at this notepad. We was going over bear trip strategies and all sorts of deep shit on the last stream. Yeah. Well, I restarted the stream bare times because I'm bare neurotic. If I don't start a stream, I want this to be somewhat of a video. I want this to be clickable and watchable. So I don't want to start the stream and go, how do I get the stream sorted properly? So that's when I restarted it, because I want to start the stream and go, hey guys, welcome to the video, there's a stream. And then if I can keep the ball rolling smoothly from A to B, then, because I'm going to keep this stream up. And this is essentially a video just as valuable as my other videos, if not more. You know what I mean? So it's not just the live stream, it's of the same nature, you know? This is very watchable, very listenable. That's why I was reading the names, and when I was reading the comments and shit, because eventually I'm going to extract the audio from this and put it onto the podcast and all sorts. Dylan, what you been drinking at the pub? Take me through it then. It was a good chat, you missed it out. What's the tripping strategies? I'm intrigued. I wasn't even drinking alcohol, I was just chilling. Lies. Well, bro. Honestly, it's long. I mean, look, I don't want to be like a letdown. I kind of want to keep it going, in a way. But it has been like 2 hours. But I love this. I love getting on the stream and actually speaking with you guys, especially because you ask good questions and it makes good content. But I was just giving general advice, but because originally it was going to be psychedelic advice and then it branched off into various other things. But Dylan, if you won't hate on me, I'm probably still going to end it for the most part, like, in a minute. But I'm going to do another stream, basically of the same nature. Mate, going to the pub to sit there and not have a drink is weird. That's the only time I had a drink. Yeah, well, this video, Dylan, should be up like as soon as it ends. Like there shouldn't be any reason why it's not. Like it will be up. It may go down to process for like a little bit or some weird shit, but I'm just gonna keep it up, so it should remain. Hold on, I need to get my visuals back. But yeah, this will be up as a video after, and I feel like there's a lot of good content in there, but mainly these videos are very good to listen to in audio form, I find, which is why I got my podcast and stuff on Spotify and that, and on Google Podcast, but it's quite outdated. I need to like extract loads of audio, and I need to buy some storage, which is becoming a problem for me. You would not believe the poverty I'm in right now. It's actually like literally bottom end poverty, to the point where you're like, where you're literally like running out of electric and like literally walking around with a bag of 5p coins. That's what I'm talking, bro. Have you man ever been there? It's fucked. I will get out of it in about 2 months, but it's my past, because when I got super depressed, the self-sabotage shit caught up with me big time, and now I'm having to deal with that, which I'm now having to deal with toxic work environments, my degrading of health. Picked loads of shrooms today, boys. Well, you haven't got to watch the whole thing back if you don't want to, but Key was in it like the whole time. That's cool as fuck. Don't fucking send me any money, Key. Like, I'm not up for that. It's not going down. But I mean, I am okay right now. Like, I'm not. Dan Jefferson's calling me. He was on the live stream earlier. Yo.
Yo.
I'm still live streaming.
Yeah, I've been watching it for a minute. It stopped me being able to comment on it, bro.
Why?
I don't know. I started asking about like personal development and it just wouldn't send.
Really? That's annoying.
Yeah.
I did notice you just disappeared, like, but.
Yeah, like I sent you. That's the video I sent you as well, because it said 1 viewer, but I was just still sat there. But you're streaming. I'll let you get to it. I thought you finished. Cause when
No, it's cool. I mean,
when that guy left.
No, it's cool. I wasn't really like. I'm not really like doing. I was about to end it for the most part, but what did you call to say that you are still here?
No, I wanted to ask you this question.
Well, you can ask me it now, like, if you want. Sure.
Yeah, fine. I'll just ask you on the phone. I literally said I'll literally just read out what I wrote. Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
I use bare drugs to almost disconnect my mind from my physical self, and it lets me think bare deep into stuff without a negative narrative. But as soon as I sober up, I'm stuck with the negative thoughts. Like when I get fucked and I meditate, I literally deconstruct my ego, and I see what I have to do. But then I wake up and I just don't do it.
Right. It's like, well, I mean, there was many things there. Like, you mean you get insights and then you don't embody them, like.
Yeah, literally. Like I'll literally lie there, deconstruct it. Like I'm like, what is wrong in my life? What don't I enjoy? And I see everything that I've done wrong, and I see everything that I'm still doing wrong. And then I'm like, I gotta fix this. And then I wake up the next morning and I just do the exact same thing again.
Yeah, well, psychedelics are not drugs in general are not a magic pill.
No, of course I get that, but like, I mean, what can I do when I'm sober to stop doing nothing?
I think a lot of it is the resistance is a lot more than. Like the resistance is a lot more painful than the actual thing. Say like, I've been trying to do yoga, like just a single yoga session for like months because my posture's gonna die if I just sit in this chair any longer. But there's so much mental resistance to do it. But the actual yoga itself is okay. So I think for the most part you just gotta stop fucking thinking and just get on, because like you're gonna die. So
I'm gonna die.
I just mean everyone's gonna die. You haven't got that much time.
We're all gonna die.
Right, so you gotta choose your sacrifice. Do you want to you haven't got what you wanted so far, so, and what you've pursued ultimately is likely comfort and the path of least resistance, and that hasn't got you where you want, and it's actually painful. The path of least, like, a lot of people say the easy path is the hard path and the hard path is the easy path. So if you make the hard decisions now, it's easier. But if you make the easy decisions, like, oh fuck that, I'm not going to go to work this morning, I'm just going to do drugs, and then, like what I did for so long, it catches up with you. The easy path really is the hard path, and vice versa. So the fulfillment is just put in the work, man. It's not even that bad.
It's so hard that I don't know, because it's just do it, innit? But I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can just do stuff. There's nothing stopping you just doing stuff, is there? Literally nothing.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
to do fucking 10 push-ups right now. I could just do it. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stay lying here in my bed.
yeah, but it's exactly that. Like, sometimes I lay in bed for hours, bro, and this is what but what I found is I've been recently not ashamed to admit to myself somewhat of suicidal thoughts. I'm not saying I'm suicidal, but for example, the other day I laid in bed, yeah, I slept for an crazy amount of hours. I just didn't want to get up. I was in a rut, and then before I knew it, I was just like, I want to kill myself. What happens if I pursue the path of least resistance so much, like where I just go from pleasure, like watch porn, do drugs, go to sleep, wake up, watch porn, eat sugar, whatever. Before you know it, you just want to fucking die because there's nothing left. It's horrible.
Oh, trust. No, I've felt that. I have definitely felt that.
Well, like, porn is amazing if you haven't watched it for like a month. But if you watch it every day, you don't even want to watch it. And it's the same with all of the pleasures.
Trust. Except for K. I've never wanted to stop doing K. That's the one thing. Maybe I've just got to keep doing it, and then eventually I'll get bored of it.
Well, in terms of what you was originally saying is what I was saying to you the other day. You're young, so you don't want to sacrifice your potential. To me, wasted potential is like the most soul-crushing thing in existence.
Yeah, true.
But you just got to ask yourself what you ultimately want, and there can be like a positive motivation of an amazing life to build, and there's also the negative motivation of the shit life you're going to create if you keep fucking on this path that you're on. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, I got a follow-up question from what you just said then.
Let's have it.
Alright, so for me personally, there's like this, so I had this dream of like becoming a filmmaker, being a famous director, living in Hollywood, all that, yeah.
Mhm.
But then ever since I started having like being more spiritual since I got to Brum, it's like I kind of would rather just have a decent paying job that lets me like, I just want to amass enough money to then just be able to just like buy land and just live on the land and just do what I want.
Yeah, I get you. Well, I think
like, which one is the higher potential? Like becoming this mad famous don in Hollywood, which is like this pit of corruption anyway, or just like being a simple fellow who lives in a house that he built himself and shit like that.
I get what you mean. Like, you could just get like a good paying job by like learning skills, and then, you know, just have like a decent life. Well, it's like, well, whenever you're looking for like a vision, you have to have like a big picture approach. Like, for example, some of my friends, they just like, oh, I don't care about my health, I just want to fucking be on a yacht, like drinking a... Basically, you got to make sure that your vision is not a fucking poster, as in the... What I can say is you shouldn't focus on the vision of being a rapper or being a pro filmmaker or the end goal somewhat, because the end goal is so far out. One of the best thing to do is, because often that end goal is a distraction, and this is, I find this is very important, is the fulfilling life is not the poster of you on a fucking cruise ship with a cocktail and a zoot. That is not the vision. The vision is you are in your finite shit wage slave position right now, and it's your job to gather your finite resources, do the best you can, and build a profound life. So make sure you don't be fixed on like the end goal. Basically, just take it steps by step by step. Do you know what I mean? Like,
what, like sort of like shorten the timeline of everything, like.
Well, it's more of
instead
like.
looking at-
Sorry, go on.
Well, like instead of looking at, I want to make it to Hollywood or this, just be like, well, I'm in uni doing a film course, so just do the best as possible on this course.
Well, I don't know. Like, you can obviously have like an ultimate vision. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Like, and I don't know anything.
Yeah, but
It's
well,
like,
I'm not saying I do either, because I'm not even saying that's. I'm not saying I'd be fulfilled if I made it to that position. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure. I still don't think I'd be fulfilled if I was this famous Hollywood director. Like, I actually don't think I would be.
fulfillment. You want to fall in love with learning, with health, and you have to have like a holistic, big picture approach to success. Success is not like money. Success is like health, knowledge, confidence, awakening, and all sorts. So, and a lot of it, you really, really have to get crystal clear on what exactly you want. But my main point is, don't get lost in the poster that is your success. Basically, this is the important lesson: is that is a delusion, kind of, and it's a lazy approach of, and I've heard it a lot from my mates. I'm not saying you're lazy, but what I'm saying is the fulfilling life is the process of becoming you to your self-actualized self. So right now you're your shit finite self who's somewhat depressed and whatever the fuck, you're not particularly happy. But the fulfilling life is overcoming your limitations,
Right.
I believe.
Right. So, alright. So for just as a like a quick thing, what would you like if I hung up this call now and I was like, I'm gonna do something to better myself? What would you recommend? Just meditate or work, or like where would you put that energy? Anywhere.
Well, I mean, first of all, the idea that you don't know what you should do is not true. It's hard to often know what you need to do, because you don't let yourself think about it. But you know what you need to do, I believe. But I mean, what should you do? I can't say in your particular situation, but what you should do, I think one of the main things, yeah, be careful of distraction. Your phone. Would you look if the power went out, yeah, and you lost Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
I often think, oh my god, what am I gonna do? It's basically
Yeah,
like
no, cool.
you're floating around in the house all day, and then like the idea of the power going out completely is a paradigm shift, and people don't realize how these algorithms are designed to manipulate you. Like, humans are not as stupid as we seem to be, and these things just feed off of you and they earn profit for it. So a lot of it, I think, just don't distract yourself. Get rid of, I think the main thing, if I can answer your question, get rid of the bullshit. Like, you know, you don't need so much. So the only social media you need should be like to build on your vision and to educate yourself. But I'm pretty sure you're aware that, I mean, what I became conscious of recently is that everything that I've basically ever done until like this point right now has been a distraction. I've not worked to any vision at all. I've just floated around from one pleasure to the next, watching this, watching that. But have I actually built anything? No. Have you? No.
No.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're just floating around, bouncing around. And if you don't build anything, you're going to look in the mirror when you're 40 odd and go, oops.
Yeah, no, trust. I do hear you there.
So that's it. I think social media is one of the maddest viruses, because you don't even know that you're addicted, and it's so normalized. Get the fuck away from it, because that paradigm shift of when the power cut goes out and you're like, oh, I don't even know who I am, I've just been looking at my phone every spare minute of the day. Every time you get a fucking toilet break at work, your highlight of the day is to pull out your phone for 2 seconds. People don't let their mind to be in solitude, and that is where a lot of the answers are. And I won't advocate psychedelics because I'm not allowed, but take outrageous doses of mushrooms, and that's where the answers are. And I literally believe that so much. If you take loads of mushrooms, you'll just find out bare shit.
Nah, trust. Alright, nah, I was blessed for that, bro. I'll let you get back, but chat to me after about this camping trip, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't mean to be like, so I'm not trying to act like a guru, of course, but those are the best answers I got to your questions.
You are a guru, Baron. Don't worry.
Alright, well, I love you, and I will see you on the camping trip, I hope.
Yeah, love, bro. I'll speak to you later.
Bear. Sorry, gamers, I didn't mean to disappear for ages. I can't believe everyone's still here. Everyone said they were gonna leave. Oh, I love you too, Key. Alright, let's have a read. Sorry, I should have somewhat read these when I was actually speaking to him. I'll probably listen as I go to sleep. What are these background visuals? They look sick. I'll show you what these background visuals are exactly. Here's the links. Oops. Yeah, these visuals are sick. So if you search on YouTube the most realistic DMT audio visuals, you will find just that. And it's got like audio, and it's like and yeah, these visuals are like the most. Oh wait, it's actually, I could have zoomed this out loads. But yeah, it looks fucking cool, bro. Look at them. I have it in the background of loads of my stuff these days. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted, because I don't even know. No one actually knows who owns this footage, like who made it. But it's profound. How you earn is more important than how much you earn. That is true, bro. That is very fucking true. Good point. Get him in the Eco Village clan. Eco Village, I'm literally on that. In terms of like, because I know Key was saying he was on some Eco Village shit, but literally, like my uncle, yeah, for example, he's saved like his whole life, and he just brought 2 fucking football fields of land. Eco Village is more than possible, mate. More than fucking, like, for the most, even if it's not 100% Eco Village, for the most part, it is very possible to build a private Eco Village. And I don't know about you guys, but I would invest 1,000,000%, like my whole life, into something of that nature. Right, what else we got? What are you saying about 111 earlier? Because I didn't even, Can't make this. Yeah, I didn't see the 11111 thing. Yeah, that's kind of mad. Live in the flesh, the gods are besides me. Is that a song lyric? Nah, God whispered it in my ear when the clock struck 11. Oh, is that the time? Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I know someone who lives at their allotment, grows his own food, so doesn't need to work a wage slave jobs, also grows his own outdoor bud. Yeah, this is what's so crazy to me, is that there's no like bushes to go to and eat barely, and that's one of the things that UK is really shit for. We really like, where I live, yeah, there's like a few trees in the middle of this place that I live is like an airfield, right? So there's like no trees, there's no secret bush to have a joint. There was like 4 massive trees in the middle of this field, but now they're deemed unsafe, so they literally just cut all of the branches off, so now it's just fucking logs sticking out of the ground. Like, what the fuck? They come out there with their machines and their fucking cautionary tape and just chop all of the green up because it's deemed unsafe. So that's what the West drives off of these days, is safety first. Yeah, I agree. Fulfillment, especially as a man, comes from pushing your limits. Yeah, I think the Buddhist what's it called? endeavor to overcome your limitations is the most empowering one. The idea that you have to be a victim to your past and a victim to your limitations, to challenge that to its limit, is the fulfilling life. Kai, mate, I love you, mate. I love you too, brother. Oh, wait, hold on. You're a true friend talking to him with no filter like that. Respect. We see, this guy's not even, like, I haven't met him for years. I barely know him. He just reached out to me over social media. Like, I don't really know fuck all about him, to be honest. I can't lie. But that's one amazing thing that I've managed to do, is there's not really much filter with me anymore. Because I used to have it. Like, I used to make music, and then I thought it was cringe, and it hurt my ego so much, and I deleted it all, and I was trying to get rid of it, and then now I'm so carefree of what anyone thinks about me in that nature, and it's truly a gift, and it's very necessary. There's people in this world who do not act their authentic self. Me being here, I'm trying to do something, I'm trying to say something. There are people who are willing to put everything on the line to try and be somebody, and there are other people who do not contribute to society at all, because they're concerned of how society is going to perceive their authentic self. And I have to censor myself immensely. I have a new job. I haven't told anybody about my true nature, because I basically can't. My true being, who I decided, and who is me at my core, my family, do not advocate. No one around me advocates. It's censored. It's taboo. Alcohol is not. The true mental health and the mental illness is the tobacco, the poison supermarkets, the alcohol consumption, the poison consumption in general. And then here I am with my ayahuasca. I was gonna get that picture up again. Where is it? I'll get it up again. I feel like I need to just set this as my profile picture at this point, because it's just the best thing ever. Hold on. Oh, fuck off. What the fuck, man? There it is. Yay. Me and you get big on YouTube. Crowd fund from potential clan members to use the money to build the community and start living. 1111 time. As I was typing, we was talking about angel numbers and yeah, I get you now. Advice for being carefree when it comes to people's opinions. Always struggled with that myself. So it's difficult, right? And it takes a long fucking time, I can't lie. It depends what you're trying to do. If it's something that genuinely causes you suffering, like if you want to be somebody, but you can't because you're way too concerned about how people will perceive you, and it is honestly a very difficult thing to overcome. It takes a long time, and it probably involves a lot of ego death, but like I say, I had to go through the process of trying to be somebody, trying to make music. The Toxic album, everyone thought it was cringe, I thought it was cringe. I had a love-hate relationship because half the time I thought it was cringe, half the time I didn't. Right, you should care what other people think because it's natural to care what other people think. But when it comes to them actually hindering your success and your authentic self, so it comes a lot with discovering your true self and your life purpose and your core values. For me, for example, that could be psychedelia. I strongly advocate psychedelia for the most part. In terms of service, I won't, whatever, but look at these visuals, man, that's so cool. But basically it's the recognition that that anybody, basically, if anybody is gonna care about For example, my sister was insecure to drink an Actimel in public. Unless you're concerned with the fact that you're an NPC because Actimel is poison, then it's not so much. But I mean, just in like, Leo Gura made an example in a video called "Uncovering Your Childhood Vows." Leo Gura's mum made fun of the way a stranger was eating, and from then on, Leo subconsciously made the vow to not eat that way, and that is what subconsciously made this neurosis of caring what other people think. But yeah, it's also what Key says, is there's no one actually cares, no one's got time to think about you. And this is what I was saying with my sister, right? She was insecure about drinking an Actimel in public, right? No one gives a fuck. Everyone is just as insecure, and actually everyone judging you is a reflection of their own insecurities. And what I was saying with your core values and your highest purpose and whatever the fuck, and your life purpose is I understand psychedelia, and I think I have a very strong position to understand why I have the position I do on advocating psychedelia. And then anyone who just goes, but that's drugs, like, what the fuck, what are you on about? I can sit there and go, well, I disagree. So I don't care what people think, because I do, and I'll take it into consideration. And I do care what people think in some sense, because it's unhealthy to absolutely not care what people think. But you shouldn't care what people think when it's especially something they don't know anything about, such as psychedelia. If it's not their place to give their opinion, you've basically, it's something you can figure out yourself, Dylan. Really, it is. For me, I've got it as like an intuition at this point. And it is tricky, because there are some sacrifices, like if I confessed my true nature to my job, potentially they wouldn't want me there, because I don't know why that would be the case. And that's why I'm not a fan of the West, but what I'm saying is, you basically got to ask yourself if there's a purpose for you to transcend what people think, and you want to be more authentically you. Being authentic is the most honest way of living, and to be authentic, which goes hand in hand with living from self-love and self-respect. If you're living authentically and honestly with yourself and everybody around you, to an extent, like, you haven't got to let everyone know everything, of course, be strategic about it. Authentic living is fulfilling, because you know you're honest, and being honest means you can barely hold yourself accountable if you try your best. Alright, I'll get back to the comments. In person is the same. People will have an opinion if you don't fit the system. Yeah. Well, one thing about sober humans is they judge an awful lot. Crazy. You can barely walk past somebody. You can barely, I mean, obviously you can't verify it 1,000,000%, but when I'm walking around on psychedelics just being, I can feel the judgment off of a lot of people. And a lot of people around me, a lot of family do it. They see someone fat and they're like, drive past them and go, oh, look at that fat piece of shit. And I'm just like, there's no need for it, bro. It's literally a reflection of your own internal state. Haters only hate because they hate themselves. Yeah, I get that, Key, and I could fully get that intellectually, but struggle to embody it, I guess. Yeah, I understand. Well, maybe it's just not for you. Like, you're not obligated to. I'd love to meet you more in person, because it's difficult, because I don't even know anything about you, Dylan, not really. Yeah, I get what you mean. To be honest, I think experiencing it for a while makes you care less and less. If you understand it intellectually, people that seem to judge you will just begin to not give a fuck. Well, if you don't give a fuck yourself, that is one of the most powerful things. Is I care what people think, for example, at my job, because I don't want to blow my cover in terms of they might get salty with me for some reason and then I might lose my job, which is absurd. Which is censorship on another level. And then not only that, but when I don't give a fuck, it's basically that if someone's going to be so ignorant and just go, drugs are bad, then I don't have... Yeah, this is it. This is the nail in the... This is it. Nail on the head. You're not... Hold on, I'll get back to the comments in a second before I lose this. But here you go, listen to this, Dylan, this is it. So, for example, psychedelia. We can all agree that the vast majority of the West is asleep to the truth of psychedelia. They're powerful tools. Right, so I can tell the West, yeah, I explore different states of consciousness, I use psychedelics for personal development. The NPC Westerner will look at me and go, drugs? Ah! Don't you remember in assembly and what cultures told us? Drugs are bad, remember? Right? So, what's happened here is me not giving a fuck what you think. I do care what you think, but when it comes to something that we blatantly disagree from, why would I give that power? Do you know what I mean? So, why would I care if you're blatantly ignorant? So, I feel like there's no arguing. Hello, is it Sam? I wish you guys would have relevant names a bit. Why do you all join so fucking late? I've literally... How are you, Sam? I believe it's Sam. I don't think it could be anyone else. Have you gone picking this year? I haven't. I tried to, actually, in some farms and stuff high up on the outskirts of some place, but I didn't find any. Dylan did. But yeah, there was a quote of an opinion of 1,000 men who have nothing about the subject of the, who know nothing about the topic, is of no value. Like the teachers in school trying to teach you about business, but they've never themselves pursued a real business. And the West trying to tell you that psychedelics are bad, having never really pursued psychedelics. It's the same thing. Time will make you tough, and if you understand it in the mind, you do so. It's just remembering no one cares, like, to feel important mostly or valid, so they can judge others. Feel sorry for them. Yeah, I get you. But yeah, you will time does make you tough. I used to be in the same boat, Dylan, in terms of I cared a lot of what others thought, and it did mediate my behavior. So I guess that's the ultimate question you got to ask is, how much is this mediating your authentic behavior, and how much is it mediating who you want to actually be? People throw opinions and comments into the wind like it's nothing. They'll judge you, and you can spin that comment around in your head for years, literally forever. Some people say shit to you, and it's permanently imprinted. You don't forget it. But that comment, they never think about it again. They say it, they barely even conscious they said it in the moment. They just fucking go home and then just start continuing with their mundane life. So nobody cares. People are too busy thinking about themselves to care about others for the most part. And I really do feel sorry for anyone who gives me hateful attention, because it's just a waste. Hate is not really... See, this is a good philosophy as well. There's no point really in spending too much time hating on the system. You're much better off building your own system, building your own paradise, instead of deconstructing the hell that you are in. Or a bit of both, but you'll not give a fuck, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I did get you, I think. You'll just begin to not give a fuck. Yeah, I get you. Bro, that monkey staring at me when you lean down. I should just do them like this from now on. Care if it's helpful, not care if it's just hate. Soz didn't see Sam's on social media break. So if it's you've made him lose the streak. I always try to be on social media breaks, like I said. Even Key commented on one of them, but I always come back. I find social media to be an amazing tool. Like, this conversation has been incredibly constructive and I've had a lot of value in it. I went picking today, got quite a lot, to be fair. Bro, you are a fucking legend. I need to get up those ends. I can't believe you literally live near. Look at the monkey, bro. He's literally staring at you. I wish I could pick shrooms. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard of. Going into a fucking mountain, picking psychedelics, and then just eating them. Like, what the fuck? I've been buying them for £10 a gram for years. It's absurd. But educational YouTube info isn't really bad. Social media. Yeah, I get you. Podcast format is what you're looking for. Long form. Fuck TikTok and all that stuff, honestly. More long form intellectual podcast conversations, things of this nature. However, you got to kill two birds with one stone sometimes. To actually actively sit there, as a lot of you man are now, and invest real time into this, I think is somewhat not a wise decision. It depends, because you are actively engaging, and if you find value in it, then okay. And you do got to take your foot off the gas, and I don't even work very hard at all these days, and I definitely got to step my game up, otherwise I'm never going to succeed. Because when it actually comes to putting in the work, I'm like, fuck that. Sit back and watch a video. To actively invest time into this, time is all you have. So you need to allocate your resources, that is time and money, very strategically. And that is the best method for building an epic life. Oi, sweetheart, answer Snapchat. Okay, I will do, Oliver. One day. I mean, sorry, let me just check the other... Alright. I'll look at the other messages super fast. Hold on. I answered your Snapchat, Ollie. One of my mates said he tried picking but didn't get any, not cold enough this October. Depends where you live. G Block loads here in Wales. Hello, Brogy number one.
How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm just being bare famous. See all these fucking interactions.
I know, look at you go. I'm so proud.
How's it going anyway? What have we got?
Right. So, you know the shed?
I know the shed.
You know how you cleaned it, yeah? And like made it all nice?
Yeah.
Did you leave was it you that put the Tesco bags in here?
I don't know. What are they? Like rubbish bags?
Yes.
Maybe. I think the bins were like completely full.
Pal, they've been in here the whole time, right? And I've just taken them out because the fucking smell is just fucking... It's something else, right?
Oh my god.
And,
Are you there now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there
The
more?
amount of fucking maggots...
Oh,
Sorry.
oh no. Are they in the bag or are they like external?
Down. There is like... I've never seen this before in my life. But there's like this liquid shit on the floor under the chair that is like seeped down the side of the shed, out of the side of the shed. There's so many maggots that there's literally fucking maggot juice, bro.
Well, that would have been. What the fuck is in the bag? It must have been like fruit and shit.
Yeah. Well, there was pasta.
What? How like fucked is it in terms of like how is the actual shed?
I mean, it's slanted. The door is hanging off.
Yeah, I know, but that's like that was.
It's alright, man. It's alright. Hang on a minute. If I video call, it's going to turn my light off, and you can't see.
Really?
Can you see the juice that I've washed away?
What the fuck?
It goes all the way back.
Well, that's amazing.
You know, it's really crazy how life works, man.
Liberty caps are more potent, I believe. Sorry, I was just looking in the chat. Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, I can't believe how fucking long that shit's. That's been ages.
Yeah.
How are the fawns that I like tore out? Are they grown back yet?
No, they... Did you put them in a pile in the corner of the garden?
Yeah, I never like sorted them out in the end.
Well, yeah, no, they're like in a pile dying in the corner, so that's like good.
Well, it's better than fucking consuming the whole garden.
Yeah, basically. What have you been talking about on your stream?
Talking loads, man, for fucking 2 hours and
Like 3
40
hours,
minutes. Huh?
Yeah. I thought it's been like 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah, it's a madness. Well, originally I was speaking about like psychedelic advice, and then people have just been speaking like for the whole time mostly. So we've just been like speaking about random shit. But I think one of the main things I'm going to focus on is just like I just feel like I need to talk a lot more about psychedelics because there's so much advice and experience on, and it's like the only thing that I actually know anything about. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, do more.
Yeah, well, I mean, this has been
That was
long.
funny.
But this has been quite a good chat. Like people actually stay in there for like the whole thing, and then you actually have like quite a constructive.
You got some like repeat customers?
Well, it's mainly Kieran Parks. Remember him?
Oh, big up.
Yeah, and then it's mainly him and his friends, to be honest. So I'm very happy I made that connection because.
That's good, man.
But yeah, it's been good because it's been like a constant flowing conversation, and I feel like most of it's pretty valuable. So.
Yeah. Has your dad found your fucking... Has he been watching your live streams or anything?
I'm not sure. Well, I mean, I haven't like taken no mushies or anything. Like, there's nothing of that on YouTube at all. So there's nothing actually wrong with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's alright for the most part.
Good. How's it going? How's life going?
Life is actually
How's-
pretty good right now.
You found a job that you think you could stay in?
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is I have like zero money. It's like, Key even offered to send me money through PayPal. I was like, no, I ain't doing it. But yeah, I'm gonna get, I'll get paid in about.
It's so funny.
Well, the only stupid thing is, yeah, I get a new job, yeah, on the 10th of October. They can't pay me till the last day of November.
What?
That's what I'm saying, brother. It's like literally like nearly a 2-month cut of thing.
Have
Like,
you said anything to them? Like, I
yeah, it's
they
because they
fucking-
do loads of jobs do that. I've had it loads of times.
I know that there's like a cut-off period. Like, obviously, I just moved jobs.
Yeah, I know, and you had the same shit.
I literally got paid 220 quid that had to last me for a whole month. Fucked.
Hold on. Psych Substance gets demonetized as well a lot. G-Block. That's why he had to like remove half of his content and shit. How much do I earn at my current job? Probably fuck all. It's about £9.50 an hour, I think. Something. It's I won't disclose what it is exactly because they're so stupid. They'll just fucking sack me.
It does not matter how much you earn. If you work a wage job, regardless of how much you earn, your money is going to get robbed from you by the tax man. That's how it works.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, of course, like if I went on here now and I learned how to do some fucking web development and end up earning like 100 grand a year. I know what you mean. As soon as you start earning bare peas, they just take more money.
Bruv, somebody was telling me literally, like at work today, right, that their husband worked like through the whole of COVID and shit, and I don't like know how if it was like from the government or his like work specifically or whatever, right? But they gave him like I think it was like an £1,800 bonus, like for working through COVID, because obviously it was, I guess it was like it was dangerous as fucking shit. You might die and all that bollocks, right?
Yeah.
And he literally saw like 500 quid's worth of it because it got taxed, apparently. I don't know if that's true because that's like crazy. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was supposed to get 270 quid in that pay, and they took 50 quid out of it, man.
Yeah, they do. It's fuck. Well, this is one thing that just pisses me off. And the West our culture is full of so many of these things. It's like when I have my job, like I just disclosed, that maybe I'm on £9.50 an hour, but I'm not actually. I'm probably on about £8.60 an hour. Or
£7.
yeah, I mean maybe it's not that mad, but I mean it's like that your pay. You know what I mean? They'll tell you how much you're on, but then there's what you're actually on. So it's like, why do you just even bother confusing me? Just tell me how much I am actually gonna get.
Right now, I don't even know why, right? Because basically I've had a tax code that gives me like a 12 grand personal allowance every year, right? And this job that I've gone to now, I've got a tax code that it's called BR cumulative, which is my base rate pay. They literally, however much money I get paid, right, they just take 20% of it as tax.
Yeah, that's what it is for everybody.
20%, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's fucking crazy, man. They take 20% for, I mean, I guess people will sit here and say it's like to do up the roads and all that bollocks, but like, where the fuck is the money going when the hospitals still have no money?
It's going to the fucking community support officers that walk around stealing grinders off of teenagers.
Yeah, exactly, man. The hospitals have got no staff. You know, carers as well, right? Now I'm working a care home. It seems to be that there is this huge thing, like across, I mean, I don't know about the world, but especially definitely in the country. Imagine literally spending your whole life as your job wiping people's asses and looking after old people and shit, right? And these people get like £9 an hour. That's like base rate pay, and that's like across the UK.
Well, that's what vexes me so much, is because they're not generous at all. You literally get like the minimum that like, and if you had any lower, you'd be fucked.